The following is a production of Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports.
Bedford and the Lions down to their final strike. Can Bedford keep it alive? Trunkhill trying to close it out for the Bulldogs. 3-2 Algona. 2-2 count, runner at second. Trunkhill winds and delivers. Slow tapper towards shortstop, charged by Lentz. Picks it up, throws to first, in time, and the ball game is over. The Bulldogs get it done at Clear Lake, and the season will continue. As Reagan Haynes lead the batter, line drive right center field. That one's down for a base hit in front of Harvey. Here comes Burns around third. She'll come to the plate and score. She'll fly to center field. That one's hit hard, and it's over. Gibbs head to the wall. Bulldogs are going to take the lead. Here comes Haynes to score. Burns sliding to second base of a double. A clutch hit by Caitlin Burns, and the Bulldogs push in front 3-2. 2-2 counts, 2 outs. Thompson laboring here in the second. Fires to Busher. That's a gapper towards left center field. Racing over Schroeder. It's in the gap. 2 runs are going to score for the Bulldogs. On our way to second base is Busher. 3-0 Algona. First pitch to Lentz, blasted to deep left center field. Back it goes, and it's gone. We are tied. Maya Lentz homers to left center field. Her first career bomb for the Bulldogs, and boom goes the dynamite.
Video streaming on the Algona Radio YouTube channel is brought to you by Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit. Kemna Auto Center, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed. PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage makes all the difference. And Algona Frame and Auto Body, we meet by accident. Now, here's Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports Director, Tyler Lance.
Live here in Clear Lake, Iowa, where tonight 2 of the best softball teams in the North Central Conference go at it. The 14-5 Algona Bulldogs taking on the 15-8 Clear Lake Lions here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream. Should be a good one here tonight between 2 teams that always seem to play competitive softball games against each other, and both these teams have had equally impressive breakthrough seasons after being teams that usually fell in the middle of the North Central Conference the past few years. Both of these teams moved towards the top of the conference. This year, St. Ed's is going to win the conference title, but Algona and Clear Lake cemented in that second and third spot right now, and this game will go a big way towards determining which team finishes in second place and which team finishes in third place. Not to mention, really good playoff caliber type of competition here today as the regular season winds down in Class 3A, and the postseason is right around the corner, so it should be a good one tonight between Algona and Clear Lake here in Clear Lake. Looking at the lineup for the Algona Bulldogs, Caitlin Burns, the right fielder, starts things off. Allison Trunkhill bats second and pitches. Reagan Haynes will do the catching and hit third. Maya Lentz at shortstop batting fourth. Kayla Busher at first base hitting fifth. Ryan Haynes, the second baseman, batting sixth. Lainey Van Tiger in left field batting seventh. Emma Spear, the designated player, hitting eighth. Beljo Dunning, the third baseman, batting ninth. And Gabby Van Tiger in center field, as Beljo Dunning will be the flex player, beg your pardon. And Gabby Van Tiger in center field, she will bat ninth. We'll get to the Clear Lake starting lineup after this on 92.7 KLGA.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill. For wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Caitlin Burns and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
All right, you just heard the Algona starting lineup right before that national anthem played, and now it's time to take a look at the Clear Lake starting lineup here on Hometown Radio KLGA. For the host Lions, it'll be Cheyenne Schroeder batting leadoff and playing right field. Michaela Johnson, the starting pitcher, bats second. Taylor Schwem, the catcher, hitting third. Olivia Payne at shortstop, batting fourth. Elena Hartle at third base, hitting fifth. Taylor Bedford, the designated player, batting sixth, as she will bat for the flex player, second baseman Aspen Hill. Finley Jepson's in left field, hitting seventh. Jesse Thompson in center field, hitting eighth. And Maddie Oth the first baseman, batting ninth. It'll be Michaela Johnson taking her warm-up tosses right now for Clear Lake, and she'll face Caitlin Burns, Allison Trunkhill, and Reagan Haynes. 1, 2, 3 in the Algona Bulldog lineup. Yesterday, Algona got back on track after starting off the week with a Monday night loss against St. Edmund. Bulldogs went to Esterbrook Central last night and defeated the Midgets by a final count of 11-2. The number 6 ranked team in Class 3A, although, as we'll talk about during the game, both teams maybe held a few cards back knowing that they're in the same postseason bracket, but nonetheless, a very good win last night for Algona to get back on track. And tonight, not a big test here against Clear Lake, a team Algona defeated this season earlier 4-1, but these two teams always seem to have close matchups when they see each other, including last year in the postseason where the Bulldogs got a 1-run win over Lions in the first round of the postseason. Starting things off, Caitlin Burns, left-handed hitting right fielder for Algona on this 81-degree night in Clear Lake, Iowa. Michaela Johnson, the right-hander, climbs aboard the rubber for Clear Lake. The freshman for the motion and the pitch. And that one is strike one on Burns, and we are underway here in Clear Lake. Again, 81 degrees, your game time temperature, not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful night at the softball diamond, which is 185 feet down the left field line, 210 feet the dead center field, and 185 feet down the right field line. Burns back in the box of an 0-1 count. Johnson motions and delivers, and that pitch outside to Burns as the count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. Algona in the all-black uniforms tonight. Black high socks, black uniform pants, black jersey tops. The red Algona on the front, and the red numerals front and back. 1-1 pitch, Burns bunting, but she fouls it off behind home plate. And the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Bulldog leadoff hitter. The senior Burns batting .390 this season. 10 runs driven in for the Bulldogs. Does have 20 strikeouts, but a .429 on-base percentage for Burns. Hits out of a squared left-handed stance. Behind in the counts 1 and 2 against Michaela Johnson. Johnson into the motion, quickly to the plate, and Burns with the wave and a miss for strike 3. Johnson pulled the string on her for the first out of the game. That will bring Allison Trunkhill to the plate. Trunkhill did not pitch yesterday as Ryan Haynes got the assignment and picked up the win for the Bulldogs, with Trunkhill back pitching today. The junior batting .415, 1 home run and 17 runs driven in for the Bulldogs, a right-handed hitter. Clear Lake tonight, they wear the yellow high socks, the black jersey pants, and the yellow jersey top with the black collar. Black Clear Lake on the front, and black numerals front and back outlined as well out there in the field. Ball 1 delivered to Trunkhill. Johnson back on the pitching number, working first base side. Fires to home plate as the pitch is up and away, and the count 2-0 on Trunkhill. Defensively for Clear Lake, it's Schwen behind home plate, Hartle at third, Payne at shortstop, Hill at second, and Ott at first. In the outfield, it is Jepson, Thompson, and Schroeder left to right. And that pitch will be ball 3 to Trunkhill. Works ahead 3-0 with Reagan Haynes waiting in the on-deck circle. Bulldogs with a 14-5 record, Clear Lake 15-8. Trunkhill takes, and that pitch finds the inside corner for a called strike, count 3-1. Here at the Clear Lake ballpark, the baseball field is over to our right, and a little bit behind us as well is Clear Lake taking on Iowa Falls Alden over there tonight. 3-1 pitch, fouled back to the screen by Trunkhill, and the count goes to 3-2. Down the right field line, there's the concession stand with the smoke and the fumes from the delicious food wafting into right field. Schroeder playing very deep out and right, by the way, for Clear Lake. Rest of the outfield also pretty deep as well against Trunkhill as the 3-2 pitch. Up and away for ball 4. Trunkhill gives the Bulldogs a 1-out base runner, and that'll bring Reagan Haynes to the plate. Reagan Haynes has been mashing the softball, especially as of late. .388 batting average, 6 home runs, and 28 runs driven in for Haynes, and she will bat for runner on base, as it'll be Charlie Dodds running at first base. Dodds will replace Trunkhill, the pitcher, who will get ready for her half of the inning. So a runner at first base is not a runner in scoring position, but with Reagan Haynes at right center field, a packed parking lot here tonight. Nice, good Wednesday night crowd here in Clear Lake on a beautiful night for softball action. You have some pine trees and some other trees out beyond the center field and left field fence as that pitch is inside to Haynes. Almost hit her as she leaned back, and the count is 1-0. Then that Clear Lake Lions scoreboard high above the wall out in left center field. Haynes is one of the players who could potentially reach that. If you've been to Humboldt, you saw Reagan Haynes hit a home run off the Humboldt concession stand as she pops it foul out of play, first base side, heading towards the baseball diamond as the count evens 1-1. From what I'm told, that was a 12-4 win. Algona sweeping their high 169 rivals this season. The 3 conference losses for the Bulldogs were twice against St. Edmund and once against Iowa Falls Alden early in the season. Haynes squaring and pulling it back, and she takes it for a called strike. That was interesting there on the 1-1 count, as Haynes now behind 1-2. Clear Lake, they have 3 conference losses as well. 1 against Algona earlier this season, 1 against St. Edmund, who they split with, and 1 against Iowa Falls Alden. As the Cadets beat both these teams, next pitch is bowled in, and that'll allow Dons to scamper up to second base. The wild pitch gives the Bulldogs a runner in scoring position as the count evens 2-2 on Reagan Haynes. These two teams are locked into second and third place in the North Central Conference. It's just a matter of what order they're going to come in, as tonight may play a part in determining that. Johnson with a 2-2 pitch. In there for a called strike three. Looked like she caught Haynes guessing that time, and Haynes retired on a rare-looking strike out of the Bulldog catcher for out number 2 of the inning. Now it's Maya Lentz, the sophomore shortstop, hitting .444 on the season with a .545 on-base percentage. Lentz with 15 runs driven in. She's walked 9 times and only struck out 3. Johnson to the plate, and that one stays a little bit outside for a ball. 1-0 count. Algona's had the edge in this series against Clear Lake. Bulldogs have won the last 3 meetings against the Lions, and they are 23-9 against Clear Lake, dating back to the 2009 season. As Lentz takes, and that's just a bit outside. Schwen trying to frame that one and bring it back in, but not getting that outside corner from the home plate ump as the count goes to 2-0. However, even in that big Bulldog record, a lot of close games in there as the 1-0 pitch. Lentz shot past third base into left field for a base hit. Dodds being waved around, but she'll get a late stop sign as the throw comes through to home plate. And that was a smart decision as Dodds would have been out by a mile. But on the throw home, Lentz advances to second base. And the Bulldogs have a good situation here. Runners second and third, 2 outs. And Kayla Busher coming to the dish. Kayla Busher hitting .360, 9 RBI in the season for the Bulldogs. Just above .500 as far as on-base percentage is concerned, as the Bulldogs threaten here in the top of the first against Michaela Johnson. Outfield continues to play very deep for Clear Lake. Wind down the pitch. Busher watching, and that one is a strike over the outside corner. Count 1-0. Not a whole lot of NCC games left for either team. Algona plays against Clarion Goldfield Downs tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then doubleheader against Hampton Jumel Cal on the 7th as Busher hits a lazy fly ball, shallow left center field. That one's dropping in a hurry, and it drops in there. Jepson couldn't make the grab. Bulldogs score 2 runs, and Busher ends up at second base. How about that? That ball hung up there in the sky for seemingly forever. Jepson charged in and looked like he was going to get to that ball, but just couldn't snare it out there in left center field as Busher has the little bloop for the Bulldogs, and a couple of runs come home to score. Well, we'll give Busher a single on that. We'll see what the official scorer has to say tomorrow when we look at the box score as that pitch to Ryan Haynes up and away for a ball. Or check that. Yes, up and away, as that'll be ball 1 to Haynes. Haynes, the senior, batting .321, 25 RBI, which is third on the team behind her sister Reagan Haynes and also Laney Van Tiger, who's due up next, as Haynes flies that one in the air, pretty deep to center field, but Thompson only has to take a couple of steps back before coming in and making the catch for the final out of the inning. But Kayla Busher on the bloop to left field gives Algona an early 2-0 lead. We move to the bottom half of 1 in Clear Lake and on Hometown Radio, KLGA.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent.
Yo.
High school sports on Hometown and Steel and Toro Products and Green Mountain Pellet Grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
We move to the bottom half of the first inning here in Clear Lake, Iowa. It's the Algona Bulldogs 2 and the Clear Lake Lions nothing in this North Central Conference softball matchup. As this inning for Clear Lake, it'll be Cheyenne Schroeder, Michaela Johnson, and Taylor Schwen to go up against Allison Trunkhill, the Bulldog Jr. Trunkhill into the motion, and her first pitch to Schroeder is flared, foul territory, first base side, out of play. This is game number 19 pitching-wise for Trunkhill and her 15th start. Her record is 11-4 and her ERA 2.46. Trunkhill of 84 strikeouts, 21 walks in 85 1/3 innings, and opposing batters hitting .225. As Trunkhill's delivery, that is waved at and missed by Schroeder, and the count goes to 0-2. Well, again, unofficially my scorebook, but Bulldogs had 2 hits, 2 runs in the first inning. Left 1 runner on base, and take the 2-0 lead on that clutch 2-out bloop by Kayla Busher that just hung up in the sun. And that left field is a tough sun field. Laney Van Tiger out there for Algona shading her eyes. There's a one-hopper to shortstop, and it eats up Lentz. It deflects off her glove and goes into center field as Schroeder will reach base safely, start things off for Clear Lake. So runner on first base for Michaela Johnson, the starting pitcher for the Lions. Defensively for the Bulldogs tonight, it's their normal lineup. And why change it of how well it's worked as of late? and really throughout the season. Haynes behind home plate, Dunning at third, Lentz at shortstop, Haynes at second, and Busher at first. In the outfield, Bulldogs have their law firm of Van Tiger, and Burns left to right across the way. Johnson awaits the first pitch from Trunkhill, and Johnson bunts at third base side. Dunning charges. She scoops, she throws, and she gets the out at first base. Sacrifice completed by Mikayla Johnson, and Dunning continues to field that position extremely well as out number 1 of the inning recorded, and Clear Lake puts a runner at second base with 1 away. Now it's one of the most dangerous hitters in the North Central Conference, Taylor Schwen, a 500-plus hitter with serious home run power for Clear Lake. Like I mentioned last time these teams met, 2 of the best catchers in the North Central Conference are on the field tonight with Reagan Haynes of Algona and Taylor Schwen of Clear Lake. Schwen, the imposing right-handed hitter. She will attack the first pitch and fly it in the air towards right field. Burns started in, now she goes back and she makes the grab. And Schroeder at second base is not going to test the arm of Caitlin Burns. And boy, what a big out that is. Bulldogs faced Mariah Myers on Monday night of St. Edmund and really had to work hard to get her out. And the same case is something you can say about Taylor Schwen. Anytime you get her out, especially on the first pitch, you are breathing a sigh of relief if you're the Bulldogs. And of course, Caitlin Burns out there in right field has a howitzer of a left arm. You're not going to test that. A lot of times you put your fastest player, which would be Burns in center field, but in right field, that's the old tradition in baseball and softball. It's the longest throw to the bases from right field, so you want someone with a good arm out there, and Caitlin Burns has constantly proven that. As it's a 1-0 count on Olivia Payne, the cleanup hitting shortstop. Payne, another righty for Clear Lake. Outfield playing her towards left center field as Trunkhill delivers. There's a little dribbler towards the middle of the infield, and Lentz can't knock it down as it sneaks through to center field for a base hit. Schroeder is waved around, throw to the plate, not quite in time as Schroeder slides in behind the play, throw to second base, and they'll get the out at second as Payne tried to go to second on the throw home. That'll make the score 2-1, but the inning does come to an end as Payne is gunned down at second base. Clear Lake gets on the board on the RBI single, and the score is 2-1 as we move to the top of the second on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Gray Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Hey Bulldogs fan, this is Coach Venadalu, and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Top of the second inning in Clear Lake. It's Lainey Van Tiger, Emma Spear, and Gabby Van Tiger this inning for the Bulldogs. Van Tiger on the season hitting .377, 2 homers and 26 runs driven in as Mikayla Johnson goes back to work for Clear Lake. Outfield continues to play deep against these Bulldog hitters as Johnson burns the first one over for a called strike, 0-1. Algona on top of Clear Lake, 2-1. Kayla Busher driving in the 2 runs for the Bulldogs. Olivia Payne driving in the run for the Clear Lake Lions in the first inning as Van Tiger rolls that towards third base, and it is off the body of Hartle. It deflects away, and Van Tiger is going to be safe at first. So a lead-up base runner reaches board for the Bulldogs on the routine ground ball to third base, but it deflected off the body of Hartle and deflected far away over towards shortstop as Emma Spear, who has been on a tear lately for Algona, coming into the batter's box. Spear drove in the Bulldog lone 2 runs on Monday night in that loss against St. Edmund, but even outside of that game, she's been a very competitive hitter out of that number 8 spot. She'd be hitting a lot higher in many teams' lineups, I can tell you that, but with the way the Bulldogs have hit, you have a lot of productive players who could be hitting in the number 2 spot or the number 1 spot, batting lower in their order. Spear hitting .366, 11 RBI on the season as Van Tiger's at first base. 1-0 count as Johnson delivers upstairs. Schwen pops out of the stance and throws to first base, but Van Tiger back to the bag. Schwen is not someone you're going to challenge a whole lot on the base paths tonight unless you see a really good spot to do it. Bulldogs tried to challenge Schwen a couple of times the previous matchup between these teams, and they paid dearly for it as that pitch is upstairs for a ball. And Spear works ahead 3-0. Bulldogs had a couple of runners thrown out stealing, but they still ended up winning that game 4-1 after a tremendous effort by Allison Trunkhill in the circle. The wind down the 3-0. That one is taken by Spear for a called strike, 3-1. In the previous meeting between these teams back on June 13th, Clear Lake took the 1-0 lead in the top of the first inning, but they left the bases loaded, and after that it was lockdown softball by Trunkhill as Spear takes a healthy cut at that one and fouls it off the catcher and the umpire at home plate. Count goes full at 3-2. Gabby Van Tiger on deck. Caitlin Burns in the hole for Algona, leading 2-1 here on a beautiful night in Clear Lake. As the home plate umpire will take a brief walk around the home plate area and then get back behind home with a full count on Spear. The motion by Johnson and the 3-2. Spear with a little pop-up first base side, foul territory. Ott onto the grass in foul territory makes the grab. And after getting ahead 3-0, Johnson able to battle back as Spear is retired on the routine pop-out to first base. 1 out, 1 on. Gabby Van Tiger to the plate for the Bulldogs, hitting 167 on the season with 4 RBI. As Burns waits in the on-deck circle for Algona. Van Tiger way choked up on the bat. She wants to bunt. She pulls it back. Schwen pops out of her stance and fakes the throw to first base, but hangs on to the ball as it is ball 1 on the Bulldog number 9 hitter. We'll see if she shows bunt again. She's choked up a couple of inches on that right-handed bat as she hits out of the squared stance. She squares. She pops it up behind home plate, and Schwen couldn't quite grab that one. That was an arcing bunt that went straight back, almost about head height as it relates to the home plate umpire, and Schwen tried to get that glove up and just grab it out of the air, which would have been an incredible play, but it drops harmlessly in foul territory as the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Hartle and Ott, the corner infielders, playing in shallow as Van Tiger bunts. First base side, Schwen bare hand grabs. She fires to first base, and the out is recorded. Bag was covered by Aspen Hill, or by Maddie Ott, beg your pardon, as Ott stayed home at first base. And the runner moves up to second on the sacrifice by Van Tiger. Now 2 away, though, for Caitlin Burns, who is a strikeout victim her first time up. As Burns is 0 for 1 today. So 2 away, runner at second base. Left-hand hitter Burns back in, batting out of that squared stance. Slightly choked up on the bat as Johnson comes to the plate. And she will find the inside corner for a strike, 0-1. Michaela Johnson is a pitcher that, once she gets going, she gets quick to home plate. It's not an elongated motion or delayed by any stance as she gets that right arm going as the ball is ripped right back to the circle right off of Johnson. She recovers, she throws to first, but the throw is wide. It is thrown into foul territory, and Van Tiger's going to come home to score. Johnson got smoked on that line drive up the middle. She recovered and picked up the ball, but threw it away. Knew she had to rush to get Caitlin Burns out, and the Bulldogs would get another run on the board. 3-1 Algona. Sometimes if you just hit the ball hard, good things are going to happen as the Clear Lake coaching staff will come out and check on Johnson. She took a line drive right off the body by Caitlin Burns. But it is interesting watching Johnson pitch as they take a check on her. She's just very, very quick to the plate. That is a very quick rotation, so when you're the batter, you've got to load those hands really quickly, get that front foot down, and get ready to go because Johnson is not spending a ton of time motioning in the circle. The conference in the pitching circle breaks up. Johnson is all right after that play, and it'll be Burns at first base. 2 away for the Bulldogs, and Allison Trunkhill, who walked her first time up. Bulldogs get the run back that Clear Lake was able to deliver in the bottom of the first, leading 3-1 right now, trying to sweep the season series over the Lions. Here's the wind and the pitch. Trunkhill checks her swing, but holds back, as that is going to be ball 1. Well, last time Algona swept the season series over Clear Lake, you have to go back to the 2021 season when the Bulldogs won 7-2 and 7-6 over the Lions. Since that time, you've seen these teams split their season series as that ball's popped high in the air, shortstop side of the field, moving over and missing the ball is Payne in the shallow outfield area, and everyone's going to be safe for the Bulldogs. Payne just kind of drifted to that ball, never got underneath it, lunged at the last minute, and couldn't make the grab as the inning continues for Algona. So Trunkhill aboard via the E6. Unofficially, that's the second error of the inning by Clear Lake, as it started off with a ground ball to third base by Lady Van Tiger that wasn't fielded cleanly by the Lions, and now, exactly what you didn't want if you're the Lions, you face Reagan Haynes with 2 runners on base. Instead, the base is empty and in a new inning. Haynes 0 for 1 of a strikeout looking. Big spot here for Michaela Johnson. Johnson delivers. Haynes with a long drive, deep to left field. There she goes! Home run, Reagan Haynes, her 7th of the season. And the defensive miscues come back to bite Clear Lake on the 3-run homer. Reagan Haynes has been in an unreal zone as of late for Algona, and she delivers again. A 3-run shot to left, and the Bulldogs jump in front. 6-1 right now here on Hometown Radio KLGA's. That'll clear out the bases. But Reagan Haynes continues an absolute tear. Coming into the week, she had homered in 4 out of 5 games. She was held homerless the first 2 games of this week, but she is right back in the home run category with number 7 of the season. That time, a line drive, no doubt about it, shot to left. That seemed like it was still on the way up by the time it got out of the park as Maya Lentz stands in. Lentz rips it to center field, dropping in a hurry, but closing ground quickly and making a nice catch in center field is Thompson, who judged the line drive well. But Clear Lake commits 2 errors, and it costs them dearly as Reagan Haynes hits a 3-run homer and gives Algona a 6-1 lead on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Central Financial Group, where you belong.
Down to Earth Tree Service, your local Algona Tree Service.
Styles Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farm and Home Services. View their listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Holmes Animal Clinic, animals large and small. They love them all.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle. Passionate about teaching, creative about dance. Visit their studio or danceconnectionbymichelle.com.
All bringing you this ball game.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
TAFE Wellness Center in Algona and Armstrong, keeping athletes in the game with chiropractic care. Take charge of your health.
Lichter's Garage Door Service and new installations. A reputation you can trust. Call 515-295-5988.
Ed Service Station, service you can trust.
J&J Custom Meats, continuing the traditions in Whittemore.
Ulrich Construction, let them do the work.
Sports club members bringing you this game.
Reagan Haynes with a 3-run homer, and Algona with a 6-1 lead as Allison Trunkhill has some run support to work with now. She will face hitters number 5, 6, and 7 for Clear Lake as Trunkhill misses for ball 1. It'll be Elena Hartle, Taylor Bedford, and Finley Jepson for the Lions. 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order as the Bulldogs lead it 6-1 with 2 in the first inning and 4 in the top of the second. Now it's bottom of 2 as Trunkhill winds and delivers. And she caught the outside corner. Maybe a generous outside portion of the zone there as Haynes had the frame job behind home plate. And the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. A 5-run lead is not something we've seen a lot when these two teams match up. As Trunkhill goes into the motion and brings the 1-1. There's a cut and the miss. Boy, the bottom fell out of that changeup. And Bedford, or make that a Hartle, couldn't make contact as Bedford waits on deck. Count 1-2. The last 9 meetings between Algona and Clear Lake have all been decided by 3 runs or less. 5 out of those 9 games by exactly 1 run. The 1-2 delivery. Line drive, foul territory, out of play first base side. And the count stays 1-2. But it is always a nip and tuck battle when these two teams match up. And that included last year when the Bulldogs and the Lions played 3 times. Of course, your customary 2 regular season meetings and then the 1 postseason meeting. Trunkhill brings the 1-2 pitch. Line drive towards shortstop, softly hit. Lentz misjudged it at first, but she caught it on the fly. She got her glove underneath, and she retires Hartle on the soft line out for the first out of the inning. Lentz started back on that one. She thought that one might bloop over her head and go into the shallow outfield, but then she realized that ball was hit off the end of the bat, so had to charge in last second and barely cradled that glove underneath the ball. Kept it off the ground by a couple of inches as out number 1 is recorded, and Taylor Bedford now steps in. Bedford bats out of a squared stance, and that pitch is outside corner called strike, 0-1. Reagan Haynes has been doing a very exaggerated framing job on those outside pitches behind home plate. Usually it's the subtle framing that gets those strikes called, but that outside corner being called a strike early in this game is the 0-1 pitch. There's a cut and miss by Bedford. That pitch running in on her hands, and the count goes to 0-2. Last year, Clear Lake beat Algona 9-6 in the first meeting, but then the Bulldogs won the final regular season meeting 4-3, and the postseason matchup 3-2. The wind in the pitch by Trunkhill. Tried the changeup that time, but it fluttered up and away for a ball, and the count evens at 2-2. Earlier this season, it was a 4-1 Algona win. That was part of the tremendous stretch where the Bulldogs won 12 times in 13 games. Trunkhill to the plate with the 2-2. fouled off first base side, and we'll do it again up a 2-2 count on Taylor Bedford, Clear Lake's designated player, as Finley Jepson's in the on-deck circle. When you have an inning like Algona just had, it can be crushing on the other end of things if the pitcher's able to deliver a 1-2-3 inning. Because right now, if you're Clear Lake, you're thinking, all right, Bulldogs, they threw that first punch, but we had some base runners in the first. We've got a good offense. We're ready to strike back. So if Trunkhill's able to deliver a quick inning here, that gets the Bulldog bats right back out there with some momentum against this Lion team that is hitting over .330 on the season. Trunkill ready with the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. She fans Bedford for her first punch out of the game, and it's 2 up, 2 down to start the inning for the Clear Lake Lions. Now Finley Jepson to try to spark a 2-out rally for Clear Lake. Lions, like the Bulldogs, have been busy so far as they defeated Humboldt last night by 8-0 final score. And if you've seen the Humboldt lineup, that is not an easy team to shut out. Trunkill delivers to Jepson. Jepson watching that pitch upstairs for a ball, and they count 1-0. Whether Humboldt is good, bad, or in between, it seems like they always find a way to score runs. 1-0 count right now. The motion by Trunkill on the pitch. That one up for a ball. Count runs to 2 balls and no strikes. So Jepson trying to give Clear Lake a 2-out base runner here as Jesse Thompson's on deck. Trunkill behind 2-0. There's a little dribbler towards shortstop. Lentz takes the high hop, guns it across the diamond, and out number 3 of the inning is recorded. Clear Lake goes down 1-2-3, and Algona maintains a 6-1 lead here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. When you come in, your family.
Farmers State Bank is proud to be part of our community. Offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Stroman Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair. Service is the difference.
Trend Salon, your complete family hair salon. It's all about you.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, celebrating a life lived.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Ryan Haynes and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Kayla Busher, Ryan Haynes, and Laney Van Tiger this inning for Algona, leading Clear Lake 6-1 at the top of the third, as Busher delivered the 2-run bloop to left field her first time up. That started the scoring for Algona. The wind and the pitch, and Michaela Johnson finds the zone for strike 1 as we play here in the top half of inning number 3 on a stunningly beautiful night here in Clear Lake. Boy, for all the rain we've had lately this week, it's been a hot week, but it's been a beautiful week for baseball and softball action, as that pitch misses for a ball, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Bulldogs and the Lions starting to wind down the NCC schedule, as Clear Lake came to this game with a NCC record of 9-3. Algona 7-3 as Busher rolls it to the middle, gloved on the high hop by the pitcher Johnson, who throws out Busher at first base for out number 1 of the inning. Bulldogs sent a lot of atom balls right back to the pitcher, who was struck by a line drive from Caitlin Burns earlier in the ballgame. But when the Bulldogs are really hitting well, of course, you get the occasional home run, the big highlight for Algona, but they hit their best when you see a lot of balls going right back up the middle into the gaps in the outfield, left center and right center. Ryan Haynes dribbles at foul at home plate, and the count 0-1 on the Bulldog, number 6 hitting second baseman. Haynes pitched great yesterday against Esterville Lincoln Central. Algona run-ruling ELC with an 11-2 win in 5 innings, as Haynes gave Trunkill a break in the circle, pitching that full game, and really shutting down a very good lineup, as Haynes, with a check swing, she fouls it off first base side, and the count 0-2. Now, as you folks who have looked at the playoff bracket know, Algona and Esterville Lincoln Central are in the same region. ELC is the top seed in the region, while the Bulldogs are the number 2 seed in the region, which means if they win their first 2 playoff games, Algona and Esterville Lincoln Central could meet in a regional final for a trip to state on the line. That pitch is down for a ball, 1-2. which made that win yesterday, even though it was a non-conference game, very impressive for Algona. Now, in fairness, Esterbrook Lincoln Central, they did not pitch their top pitcher, Riley Yeager. 1-2 count, up and in as it leans Haynes back, and the count evens 2-2. You could tell looking at the box score that both these coaches for ELC and Algona maybe held back a few cards yesterday, knowing that a potential playoff matchup might be down the line, and ELC saying, we don't need to take a look at Yeager. You'll have to wait for the regional final, as Haynes cuts and misses for strike 3. Johnson, 2 up, 2 down to start the inning against the Bulldog lineup, as Lainey Van Tiger steps in after reaching on an error her first time up. But even if Riley Yeager didn't pitch, Algona still had to score 11 runs, and they did just that. Not only that, but Riley Yeager pitching doesn't change the fact that Algona held Esterbrook Lincoln Central to 2 runs. Again, a very good lineup. They were held to just 2 in that ball game. So even though maybe neither team had the exact lineup they would in a potential playoff game, that was still an impressive win for Algona to bounce back from that weak opening loss against St. Edmund. Count evens at 1-1 to Lainey Van Tiger. But the Bulldog Bats were able to beat up the Midgets. A sentence that should never be said in any context besides the context I just said it in, as they count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Emma Spear drew up next for Algona. 2 outs, nobody on base. A 6-1 Bulldog lead right now as Johnson comes to home plate. And she buries that one in on the hands of Van Tiger for a called strike. Low inside corner. Count even. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Johnson trying to answer the Trunk Hill 1-2-3 inning with a 1-2-3 inning of her own. 2-2 pitch. Van Tiger high, pop up right side of the infield, settling under it is Hill, and she will make the catch, and the Bulldogs do go 3 up, 3 down. So we head to the bottom half of the 3rd inning in Clear Lake. Score still Algona 6, Clear Lake 1 on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykirk Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Allison Trunkhill goes back to work for Algona as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning in Clear Lake. 6-1 Bulldogs as Jessie Thompson, Maddie Ott, and Cheyenne Schroeder will bat. 8, 9, and 1 in the Clear Lake batting order. Trunkhill just worked a 1-2-3 inning after giving up 1 run in the first. Showing bunt, pulling it back, and then swinging away is Thompson as she pops at foul territory 3rd base side. That one will get out of play over the Clear Lake dugout and make the count 0-1. I was talking about the Bulldog postseason draw. Of course, Clear Lake, they're a 3A school as well, but they are in a different region than Algona. Clear Lake's in Region 3, and they will host Forest City in that postseason opener on July 10th. That could be a sneaky, interesting matchup. Forest City, one of the better teams in the top of Iowa West, and a very short trip between Forest City and Clear Lake. That should be a packed crowd that night as the 0-1 pitch. Downstairs for a ball as the count evens 1-1. Winner in that game will move on to face the winner of Center Point Urbana and Hampton Dumont Cal. Center Point Urbana, the number 2 seed in that region. The top seed in that region is perennial powerhouse Mount Vernon. 1-1 pitch. And just missed. Haynes tried to bring it up and frame it, but it was a little bit low as the count goes to 2-1. Of course, Algona fans will remember a few years ago, Bulldogs played Mount Vernon in a regional final and had them on the ropes, but the game got away late. Trunkhill settles in and delivers the 2-1 pitch. Line drive towards 3rd base. Pass Dunning in left field for a base hit. Jessie Thompson gives Clear Lake their 2nd hit of the ball game. And a leadoff base runner aboard for the Lions for the number 9 hitter, Maddie Ott. That was the 2022 season when Algona met Mount Vernon in the regional final. Bulldogs had a 1-0 lead in the 4th inning, but had a couple of errors late in that ball game. Mount Vernon pushed across a few runs and ultimately defeated the Bulldogs 5-2 in a game that would have been a massive upset had Algona won that one. That was our year where the Bulldogs only had 9 wins, but They got a couple of wins in their regional bracket against Forest City and Garner Hayford Ventura, and then made that long road trip east and ultimately battled Mount Vernon, but came up a little short. This year, the Bulldogs are thinking big postseason run as well, but first, they're thinking finish out this regular season strong. Count 0-1 on Ott, right-handed hitting first baseman. Bats out of an upright stance as the pitch is waved at and missed. Trunkhill for another nasty changeup, and Ott behind in the count 0-2. That changeup is such a good pitch for Trunkhill. We've seen so many hitters just tie themselves up in knots trying to swing at that pitch, expecting the heat. As Thompson stands at first base, Trunkhill in the driver's seat at an 0-2 count. Outside, runner stealing second. Haynes throw down, the slide, the tag, not quite in time. Thompson able to swipe the bag, and Clear Lake moves a runner into scoring position. That pitcher's out of the strike zone as the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. After Ott, the lineup turns back over with Cheyenne Schroeder, the leadoff hitter, on deck, and Michaela Johnson, the number 2 hitter and pitcher, in the hole. Trunkhill works the 1-2 count. Her pitch to Ott. Called strike 3, inside corner. That ball fluttered up there, and it froze Ott for the first out of the inning. Trunkhill's second punch out of the game. 1 out, 1 on. Cheyenne Schroeder reached on an error her first time up to the plate. And Clear Lake down 5, make that 6-1 right now. But in an inning like this, you get that runner to second base with nobody out. You're thinking at least chip away here against the Bulldogs, even if you don't get all 5 back this inning. Pitch will catch the outside corner for a called strike, as Trunkhill is getting a very generous outside corner so far in this game. Counts as 0-1. Well, if they keep calling it, she's going to keep pounding that part of the zone and force the Clear Lake hitters, if they're righty, to try to go to the opposite field. Both outfielders in the corners, Van Tiger in left and Burns in right, are shading their eyes as that pitch dips a little below the zone to even the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. The infield mostly in shadows right now. Really, only the second base bag is still in the sunlight, whereas in the outfield you see a lot of sunshine breaking through. The wind in the 1-1 pitch. It skips in there where it's picked out behind home plate by Haynes. Count goes to 2-1. I'm surprised Caitlin Burns can focus out there in right field with the smell of hot dogs and burgers emanating from the concession stand. If I was playing right field tonight, there would be 8 players on the field because I would be on my way to the concession stand to get some mid-game snacks. As the 2-1 pitch, down and in for a ball. Count goes to 3-1 from Trunkhill. Trying to pick at the corners here against the leadoff hitter, Schroeder. Three-one count. The motion and the pitch. Downstairs ball 4. Trunkhill will lose Schroeder, and Clear Lake has something brewing here in the 3rd inning. First and second, only 1 out. And we're getting towards the middle of the Clear Lake batting order. The number 2 hitter, Michaela Johnson, who grounded out to third base her first time up. And not to mention Taylor Schwen looming in the on-deck circle. If Johnson gets on here, this inning could change in a hurry.
Batting now, the pitcher, number 6, Michaela Johnson.
Here's the wind and the pitch. That is outside for ball 1. So it's 2 outs, runner at first base for Clear Lake, as the Bulldogs right now lead at 6-1. The windup and the delivery. There's the line drive towards shortstop. It is knocked down by Lentz. It rolls away from her, and everyone's going to be safe. First and second for Clear Lake. As Johnson hit that line drive right to the shortstop, Lentz took a couple of hard steps towards second base. That did hit her right in the glove, but she couldn't squeeze it, and that means Schwen is going to get the bat this inning.
Number 11, Taylor Schwen.
Taylor Schwen flew out to right field on the first pitch her first time up, but one swing of the bat could change this one. It's 6-1 Algona, but 2 on here for the dangerous right-handed hitter Taylor Schwen. Trunkhill got her on the first pitch, but we'll see what she comes up on this one with 2 people on base. The wind and the delivery. Schwen blasts that ball in the air, deep left center field. Back it goes. Van Tiger at the fence. She reaches up but can't make the catch. Ball's off the top of the wall. Coming home to score is Thompson, or Schroeder, beg your pardon. And right behind her is Johnson. It's a 2-run double left center field by Taylor Schwen. This time she attacks on the first pitch. And the Bulldogs pay for not getting Michaela Johnson out for the final out of the inning. Clear Lake now down just 6-3 on the big 2-run double by Schwen. Again, it's not necessarily easy to catch a line drive like that when you're moving towards the bag at second base, but it was a play not too long ago where it hit Lentz in the glove, and I think she feels as much as anyone she could have made that play. You give Schwenn a chance to bat 2 on base, and it's a 2-run double as she did not miss a home run by much. She sent Van Tiger crashing into the wall in left center field as strike 1 is delivered to Olivia Payne. Similar situation that the Bulldogs had back in the second inning where a play wasn't made. It allowed Reagan Haynes to bat of 2 outs, and Haynes delivered a 3-run homer. So both catchers have taken advantage of plays that were not made by the opposing team's defense. Strike 2 delivered on the outside part of the zone to Payne, who's 1 for 1 off an RBI single. Well, good inning so far for Clear Lake. Even if they don't get any more, it's still a good inning, but now that you have the runner at second base, you're still thinking production from your number 4 hitter, Payne, who's behind in the count 0-2. And she swings and misses for strike 3. Trunkill got her to reach for 1 outside as the inning comes to an end. Trunkill strikes out a pair, but Taylor Schwenn hits the big 2-run double, and it's 6-3 Algona, leading Clear Lake as we move to the 4th on KLGA 92.7.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more Sports Club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Gray Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Caitlin Burns and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Michaela Johnson goes back to work for Clear Lake, trying to keep the lines within striking range. Bulldogs went up 6-1 early, but this game far from over as Taylor Schwenn delivered the 2-run double to left center for Clear Lake, and it's 6-3 right now in favor of the Bulldogs as we begin the top of the 4th inning with Emma Spear, Gabby Van Tiger, and Caitlin Burns all scheduled to bat. Spear found out to first base her first time around, 0 for 1 today, as the Clear Lake outfield plays her pretty much straight up. The center fielder Thompson may be a step towards right center, as the third baseman Hartle creeping in case of the bunt. Spear takes a pitch up high for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. This Bulldog offense continued to produce at a high rate on the season, keeping their season average over 9 runs per game, while only allowing 3.7. Clear Lake came into this one scoring just over 8 per game, as there's a cut and miss by Spear to even the count 1-1. They've allowed 5 runs per game on the season. The Lions last night were able to break a 2-game losing streak, as they had defeated Humboldt 8-0. Johnson delivers, and that one's in there for a strike. Spear down 1-2. If you go back to last week, Clear Lake lost a game 8-0 against St. Edmund as they split the season series 1-1 with the Gales. Then they lost a 4-2 game at Iowa Falls Alden, also splitting 1-1 with the Cadets. That pitch will miss for a ball, 2-2 count. Say this for Iowa Falls Alden. They may not be in the conference title race this season, but to beat both Clear Lake and Algona is impressive on their part. As Spear blasts that one left center field gap, it is down for a base hit, and that one will roll towards the fence. Jepson can't cut it off. Spear will go to second base, and she will stop right there with a leadoff double to start the inning. Emma Spear continues to produce out of that number 8 spot in the lineup. She is a real threat for the Bulldogs as Gabby Van Tiger will come up to the plate. Van Tiger laid down a sacrifice bunt her last time up, and it would appear to be another potential bunt situation. For the Bulldogs getting ready to pass the baton back to the top of the batting order. Michaela Johnson, the Clear Lake freshman, working first base out of the pitching rubber. Quickly to the plate, Van Tiger pops the bunch. Schwenn lunges for it, but she can't make the grab. Schwenn sprung out of her stance, racing towards the first base side, and got the glove on that and underneath it, but it's almost like she reached a little bit too far and hit that one off the bottom of the glove instead of right in the middle, as Van Tiger stays alive with no 1 count. Schwenn is so quick to get out, though, on those foul bloopers. As Van Tiger tries to bunt, she pulls it back. The pitch gets away, and now heading to third base is Spear, as there will be no play for Clear Lake. So a wild pitch moves the runner up to third base, and the Bulldogs have a chance to get at least one of those runs back. Nobody out, runner at third. And a safety squeeze is a possibility for Van Tiger. We'll see if Coach Van Otterloo calls for that or not, as she was trying to laid down a regular sacrifice earlier. Hartle in at third. Here comes the safety squeeze. Van Tiger pulls it back. Nothing doing, though. Schwen pump faked on the throw down to third base, but getting back to the bag with Spear. Clear Lake charging in Hartle from third base. The shortstop Payne's responsibility is to go over and cover the third base bag. As Johnson's 2-1, Van Tiger bunting, and she fouls it off. Couldn't get the safety squeeze down, and now with a 2-2 count, you would imagine the bunt is out of the equation. Maybe you tried here for your number 9 hitter, but the risk, of course, is if you foul it off, that's strike 3, and the runner will have no chance to advance from third base. Spear on third, nobody out. 2-2 count to Gabby Van Tiger as Johnson's pitch. That is a line drive right back to the circle where it's caught by Johnson, and Spear has to race back to third base. Van Tiger sent another ball right at the middle, as there's been a barrage of hits sent right back at Johnson so far today, but Johnson was able to grab that, and thankfully for the Bulldogs, Spear didn't get too far away from third base, where Johnson would have had a chance to double her off. So 1 out, 1 on, Caitlin Burns batting. Burns wants to bunt, but she fouls it off behind home plate. Bulldogs having a world of trouble getting the safety squeeze bunt down so far this inning as the count goes to 0-1 on the Bulldog leadoff hitter. Burns hit one right back to the circle her last time up, lining a ball off Johnson, but fortunately she was okay after that play, as the play went for an RBI single by Burns. The pitch, up high as Burns was not showing bunt, and the count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. Trunco in the on-deck circle, Haynes in the hole for Algona. 1 away in the top half of 4 in Clear Lake. Johnson ready for the 1-1 pitch. Burns, a little blooper third base side, and that one will land in foul territory and take an immediate turn towards the Clear Lake third base dugout. Hartle gave it a look that time, but the ball didn't have a whole lot of airtime underneath it as the count goes to 1-2 on senior Caitlin Burns. Clear Lake continues to play remarkably deep in the outfield. Burns settles in at the 1-2 count. Johnson's pitch, and that one is fouled off at home plate. Burns just got a piece of that one. Such a small piece, in fact, that Schwen picked up the ball and tagged out Burns as if that were a dropped third strike. But the home plate umpire says that ball was just tipped by the bat of Caitlin Burns. She stays alive for a 1-2 count. The next pitch, Burns blasts that ball deep right field, and it's caught out in the right field corner by Schroeder. And Spear didn't tag up. Now she tags late. She comes home, and the throw not in time. Sacrifice fly for the Bulldogs, and Algona catches a major break to get that run. No idea why Spear did not tag up initially, but she tagged up very late after the throw was pretty much already to the cutoff man. That allowed Hill to get a relay throw to home plate, where it was not quite in time. But Spear, fortunate to score that run for Algona. Sometimes on a fly ball to the outfield, it's a high fly where you have plenty of time to get back and tag up and then race home. But that was a line drive to right by Burns, so ball got to the outfield Schroeder quickly, and Spear eventually does score to make it 7-3. Trunk takes, and that pitch misses. Maybe a bit up, maybe a bit away. Count 1-0 from Johnson. So Bulldogs get a run back. Caitlin Burns has her second RBI of the night. 7-3 Bulldogs. Trunk watching, and looked like that one stayed up as well. Pitch had a little late dip, but count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Reagan Haynes waits on deck for Algona, and much like last inning, Clear Lake would prefer to face her with nobody on base. Much like the second inning, rather, although Trunkhill's worked ahead 3-0. Trunkhill's a good enough hitter, you could give her a 3-0 green light, but with Haynes on deck, you better really like the pitch here. The 3-0 delivery. Trunkhill watching, and that is ball 4. So Reagan Haynes will get a chance to bat once again of 2 outs after hitting the 3-run homer her last time up. Algona ready to bring a courtesy runner in as Charlie Dodds will run at first base. The Bulldog sophomore will replace Trunkhill. Algona has scored in 3 out of their 4 trips to bat so far. 2 in the first, 4 in the second, none in the third, and 1 so far in the fourth for Algona. Clear Lake 1 in the first, none in the second, and 2 in the third. We continue here in the top of the fourth with Algona leading by 4 right now. Pitch to Haynes. Haynes rips that one foul third base side. Line drive into foul territory all the way down towards the left field corner as Haynes was ready to jump on that first offering. Count goes to 0-1. It's been a good up-the-middle approach so far for the Bulldogs, with the one hitter who you're thinking Deadpool hitter is the catcher Reagan Haynes, especially if any pitch comes inside. Clear Lake outfield almost playing at the warning track as that pitch is flied in the air towards shallow left field. Jepson is racing in. Jepson on a sprint. She dives, but she can't make the catch. Dodds is hitting the third base. Ball still out there in the outfield, and Dodds will stop right there. And that's the respect Reagan Haynes get. You have to play so deep as an outfield to prevent a double from going over your head. And on a blooper like that, it ends up dropping in as the inning continues for Algona. So a bloop and a blast so far today for Reagan Haynes, who will be courtesy run for at first base. Taylor Van Otterloo running for Algona. And it's runners at the corners of 2 outs for the number 4 hitter, Maya Lentz. Lentz 1 for 2. Single and a fly out to center field so far today, as Johnson labors through this 4th inning.
Now the shortstop, number 5, Maya Lentz.
Last 2 reaching for the Bulldogs. Trunco on the walk. Haynes on that bloop single. The pitch to Lentz. Lentz ground ball up the middle, speared by Johnson. Throw to first base in time for the out. That ball was ticketed for center field, but Johnson had the lightning quick reaction time, and another ground ball right back to the circle results in an out at first base. Algona gets 1 run on the sacrifice fly by Caitlin Burns. It's Algona 7 and Clear Lake 3 on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykirk Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Algona scoring the early touchdown, but Clear Lake responding with a field goal. It's Algona 7, Clear Lake 3 here on Hometown Radio KLGA. In this North Central Conference softball matchup, Allison Trunkhill will miss a bit outside. Haynes tried to bring that one back in, but it was several inches off the plate to Elena Hartle, the number 5 hitter for Clear Lake. Hartle with a soft line out to shortstop her last time up, as she'll be followed by Taylor Bedford and Finley Jepson. Trunkhill motions and brings the 1-0 pitch. There's a little roller towards shortstop. Lentz charges, she gloves, she throws, and she gets... No, the ball got away from Busher. The ball beat the runner to first base, but it went off the glove of Busher, and Clear Lake will have their leadoff runner aboard. We'll call that an E3 in the scorebook, as the Lions will have 1 on with nobody out, and Taylor Bedford, who was a strikeout victim her last time up, one of the 3 strikeouts so far today by Allison Trunkhill. While playing our regularly scheduled game here at 7:30 on the Algona Radio YouTube stream, perhaps some of you watched at noon today as Bishop Garrigan took on Gardner Hafer-Ventura. The motion and the pitch by Trunkhill. Bedford attacks the first pitch, flies it in the air right center field. Burns is racing over, and it's over her head, and it will roll to the fence. Around second and heading to third base is Hartle. Hartle will be waved around to home plate. Bulldogs make the relay throw to home, and it's up the third base line as Hartle comes home to score. Algona was not expecting Hartle to try to score on that play, as Haynes, the cutoff man, reacted late on that. And Taylor Bedford has the RBI double to the opposite field, making it 7-4. Clear Lake back down by 3. Couple of RBI doubles so far today, as Schwen had the 2-run double last inning, and Bedford goes the opposite way this inning to bring home a run. Finley Jepson now standing in. Well, Bishop Garrigan beat Gardner Hafer-Ventura today in a wild football game, 22-14. Golden Bears got the late touchdown plus 2-point conversion to go up by 8. Trunkhill winds and delivers, and a nice changeup, cut and a miss by Finley Jepson, strike 1. But in all seriousness, the Golden Bears softball team picks Bueno against Gardner Hafer-Ventura, and they're playing tonight against West Hancock. Obviously, that's the only final score update we have for you from around the area, as the other normal games are going on at this point in time, rather than the noon games that Garrigan had to reschedule there at their field today. 0-1 pitch grounded towards shortstop, and it will go off the glove of Lentz, deflecting to the shallow outfield. Stopping at third and restarting is Bedford. Bedford to the plate, and she scores. Bulldogs will throw to second base, and sliding in there safely is Jepson. So not a very good defensive inning so far for Algona. Clear Lake has scored a pair of runs, and it's now a 7-5 ball game. Still nobody out in this one. Lentz slid over towards her left. Didn't really fully get in front of that ball, and then had it deflect off the glove. As it's 7-5 right now, and the Bulldogs will have a conference in the pitching circle. Well, Gardner Hafer-Ventura, speaking of them, they'll be heading to the North Central Conference here before too long. They'll play one more season in the top of Iowa West next year, and then After that, it's off to the NCC. Garner, Hafer, Ventura, Forest City, Eagle Grove, Charles City. They'll all be joining the North Central Conference in the very near future. Two more traditional NCC members going at it tonight, as Algona leads Clear Lake 7-5, but the Lions are scrapping back into it here at the bottom of the fourth. Bulldogs went up 6-1 early, but you never expect a blowout when these two teams match up. Like I mentioned earlier, last 9 meetings between these teams have been decided by 3 runs or less, 5 of those 9 by exactly 1 run, so not a surprise here that Clear Lake has battled back. Jesse Thompson 1 for 1 today, as Thompson takes a close pitch, but it missed for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. Algona has scored in every inning besides the third. Clear Lake has scored in every inning besides the second. This game taking a very different feel than the pitcher's duel we had between Mikhailo Johnson and Allison Trunkhill the first time these two teams met. The 1-0 pitch, Thompson cutting at that one and fouling it off behind home plate. Count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Clear Lake's head coach is Seth Thompson coaching over at third base. He's ready for the 4th of July wearing that star-spangled bandana. Also looks like he let the team do his hair before the ball game. 1-1 pitch by Trunkhill. It is bunted first base side, but it's pushed into foul territory, as neither of these teams has really been able to get down a bunt so far tonight, and the count goes to 1-2. A lot of the Clear Lake players, they have the blue glitter in the hair, and it appears Coach Thompson has that working as well on the third base side to match up with the team. As the 4th of July is right upon us here, coming up later this week. Trunkhill for the motion and the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. She got Thompson, that is, to chase one that was down and out of the zone, and that is a big out number 1 of the inning. Runner stays at second base, 1 out, and the number 9 hitter, Maddie Ott, who's 0 for 1 with a K, up to the plate.
Number 15, Maddie Ott.
2 runs in so far for Clear Lake this inning. Bulldogs have committed a pair of errors in this inning, and unofficially 4 so far of the night. Trunkhill back aboard the rubber. Her first offering to Ott. Ott, the big swing and a miss on a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Ott behind in the count, 0-1. Cheyenne Schroeder in the on-deck circle. Jepson at second base for Clear Lake. Reached on the error and eventually advanced to second base on the throw home. The 0-1 delivery. There's a little bouncer towards second base. Haynes able to stay down on it. She throws to first base, and that is out number 2 of the inning as Jepson advances to third. Now 2 ways. Clear Lake goes back to the top of the order for Cheyenne Schroeder, and Schroeder has reached via an error and walked so far in this ball game. Algona hanging on to the 7-5 lead. Clear Lake for the time under the plate, and the run to cut it to 1 at third base right now. Haynes a very good defensive catcher, but you have to be wary of anything in the dirt if you're Algona. Now the runner Jepson's at third base. Pitch to Schroeder, and that one finds the inside corner for a called strike. 0-1 count. Bottom half of 4 in Clear Lake. It's Algona 7 and Clear Lake 5. These two teams have another North Central Conference battle on their hands. There is never a quiet night here in the NCC as the 0-1 by Trunkhill. That one outside corner called strike, and the count 0-2 on Schroeder. 2 outs, Trunkhill trying to stop the damage at 2 runs as Clear Lake has rallied to make this a 7-5 ball game. The right-handed junior for the Bulldogs, Trunkhill, with the 0-2 pitch. And it's a bunt attempt that is missed by Schroeder. On an 0-2 count, she tried to surprise the Bulldogs with a bunt, but came up empty as it's another punch out for Trunkhill. Clear Lake scores 2 runs. They make it a 7-5 ball game, moving to the 5th on KLGA Hometown Radio and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society, Algona's senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Tangle Salon for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840.
All bringing you this ball game.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game.
Runkey Brothers Full Service. Experience the Runkey Brothers difference for all your auto service and repair needs.
Hy-Vee. Use the Fuel Saver card. Fill your cart, fuel your car.
North Iowa Appliance Center, Highway 18 East in Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Erpelding Excavating Enterprises. Let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Erpelding Boyd & Company CPAs. They're not just about taxes.
Sports club members bringing you this game.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Ryan Haynes and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
We move to the top of the fifth in Clear Lake. Kayla Busher, Ryan Haynes, and Laney Van Tiger this inning for Algona, as Busher had the two-run blooper to the left field her first time up, then a grounded to the pitcher her second time around. Right-handed hitting senior for the Bulldogs bats out of the open stance with that lean over home plate as Michaela Johnson comes to the plate, but missed maybe a bit upstairs for a ball. 1-0 count. It's been an interesting game so far. It looked like the Bulldogs were going to get a big edge early with that 6-1 lead, but Clear Lake has methodically fought back into this one as it's 7-5 Algona. Busher fooled on the changeup by Johnson as the count evens. 1 ball and 1 strike. Johnson, a very accurate pitcher, in the zone tonight, working ahead of the Bulldog hitters. Algona has tried to swing early in the count to adjust that as Johnson delivers a hanging changeup that is popped up to third base, and the catch made by Hartle for out number 1 of the inning. She had Busher out on her front foot, and that is the change in velocities by Michaela Johnson, keeping the Bulldog hitters ideally off balance by mixing in that changeup as Ryan Haynes bats. Haynes over 2 of a fly out to center field and a strikeout so far today. The wind in the pitch by Johnson. Haynes slices that one first base side, foul territory, over where the Bulldog fans are sitting as the count goes to 0-1 on the Algona senior. You have the 3 seniors hitting back-to-back-to-back, 5, 6, 7 with Busher, Haynes, and Van Tiger. The other senior, Caitlin Burns, hitting leadoff as the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs for a ball, count even, 1-1. Outfield pretty deep once again. A step towards right center is the center fielder Thompson. Clear Lake has really made a concerted effort not to allow anything over their head tonight, as they will accept the bloop single, but they don't want that booming double that gets over the outfielder's head. Count goes to 2-1. And plus, you also think it's easier for an outfielder to charge in on a ball than it is for them to go back on a ball. 2-1 to Haynes. Haynes, another slice, first base side, out of play. Aiming for the concession stand over there as the count evens 2-2. Six hits tonight for Algona. They've scored 7 runs. Both teams have committed a handful of errors. Johnson back to the first base side of the rubber. The 2-2 pitch. There's a little blooper out towards shortstop, and it is put away by Payne for out number 2 of the inning. Algona with a couple of soft pop-outs to start things off, and it's a quick 2 up, 2 down as Lady Van Tiger tries to start a 2-out rally.
Now the left fielder, number 15.
Van Tiger's probably the best example of how right things have gone this season for Algona. You look up and down the lineup, there's really not a single player who you'd say, boy, they've underperformed this season. In fact, most of the players have overperformed expectations of this. Tiger lines into right center field, down for a base hit over the glove of the second baseman Aspen Hill, who made the big stretch but couldn't reach that ball in shallow right field. And Lady Van Tiger with the first pitch base hit. That's a new one for Laney. When we've talked to her in post-game interviews, she talks about how she wants to have a really patient approach to the plate. A lot of times she will wait and make the pitcher throw a strike before she swings, but that time she got right after Michaela Johnson for the opposite field base hit. Emma Spear doubled her last time up. She got jammed on that pitch badly. Johnson came in on the hands, and Spear flicked it off to the first base side foul. Counts 0-1. But like I said, up and down the lineup, pretty much everyone has improved compared to last year for Algona, and pretty much everyone has at least been at expectations, if not above expectations, in the batting order. 0-1 pitch. A little ephus there for Johnson as it slipped out of her hands, and the count evens 1-1. If Emma Spear was as tall as Aaron Judge, that pitch probably would have been still a little bit high as the count evens at 1-1. The wind and the pitch. There's a line drive towards shortstop, and it's caught on the backhand by Payne. Spear hit that one right on the screws, but directly at the shortstop, and the inning comes to an end. 1 hit, no runs, 1 left on base for Algona. The score stays 7-5 in favor of the Bulldogs, heading to the bottom of the 5th in Clear Lake.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. When you come in, your family.
Farmers State Bank is proud to be part of our community. Offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Stroman Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair. Service is the difference.
Trend Salon, your complete family hair salon. It's all about you.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, celebrating a life lived.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Welcome back to the Clear Lake Softball Diamond as the Lions trail the Bulldogs of Algona 7-5 right now on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Michaela Johnson starting things off for the Lions this inning. The number 2 hitter taking downstairs from Allison Trunkhill for a ball, 1-0 count. Michaela Johnson, a key hitter for Trunkhill to go after as Taylor Schwen looms on deck. And the last thing you want to do is face Schwen with the tying run on base. You want to face her if one out and the base is empty in this situation if the Bulldogs clinging to a 7-5 lead. Trunkhill's 1-0 pitch. Johnson, a looper towards right center field. It's towards the gap, and it's down for a base hit. It was a big run by Gabby Van Tiger to get there, but she couldn't quite reach it. And now the tying run comes to the plate. Johnson blooping the opposite field base hit. And now Taylor Schwen, who narrowly missed a home runner last time up to the plate. A fly out to right field by Schwen, and a booming 2-run double left center field back in the third inning. 1 for 2 tonight. If Trunkhill isn't smart here, we could have a brand new ball game in one swing of the bat with the threat that Schwen presents. Right-handed hitting catcher waving the bat above the back shoulder. Hits out of the deep crouch. Trunkhill's pitch. Flied in the air towards right field. Burns racing back. She reaches up and makes the catch. The runner is off of first base. The throw to first, and it is off the glove of Busher. Bulldogs had a ready-made double play, but Johnson got back in there as it went in on one hop to Busher, and she couldn't pick it cleanly. The good news for Algona, though, is that Schwen flies out to right field on the first pitch again. She's been jumping a couple of first pitches today. That one pretty deep to right field, but shy of the warning track as Burns puts it away for the first out. Like I mentioned earlier, this has not been a banner defensive night for Algona. That is not an error, but that's a double play that could have been turned with either a better throw or a pick, as there's a wave and a miss for strike one. Throw back to first base, but back in there safely is Johnson. Payne 1 for 2 for an RBI single and a strikeout so far in this one. In any case, though, you get around the most dangerous hitter in the Clear Lake lineup, and now you deal with the rest of the lineup the way things go. 0-1 pitch for Trunkhill. Payne pops it foul third base territory as that one will get out of play. Count 0-2 on the cleanup hitter as Elena Hartle waits on deck. Runner at first base is Michaela Johnson. Had the opposite field base hit. As Trunkhill tries to work around the early base runner. The Bulldog Jr., who didn't pitch yesterday, back aboard the rubber with the 0-2 delivery. Popped foul behind home plate, and we'll do it again if an 0-2 count. This is one of those nights. It is beautiful outside, but not much of a breeze. You do not envy that home plate umpire tonight in that full padding and long pants and warm conditions behind home plate. And you also don't envy the catchers tonight either. As Trunkhill swats a few bugs away out in the pitcher's circle. The junior's 0-2 pitch. Runner is moving. There's a fly ball to center field. Van Tiger charging in, and she can't get to it. And she overruns the ball as it gets by her. Heading towards third base is Johnson, and she'll get the stop sign there. Throw to second, not in time as Olivia Payne gets in there. So Payne bloops the single to center field. Advances when the ball gets past Van Tiger. And Clear Lake in a great spot right now. Boy, Algona got the hardest out of the inning, but they're still in a jam anyways. It is Johnson at third, Payne at second. Those are the tying runs. And Elena Hartle, the potential go-ahead run at home plate. Kayla Busher comes way in at first base. We'll see what Bella Jo Dunning does at third. Outfield straight up for the Bulldogs with Lady Van Tiger fairly deep out in left field. Trunkhill's pitch to Hartle. Hartle with a big cut and a miss. She was thinking of elevating a ball there and at least getting it in the air to the outfield, but couldn't reach that one on the low outside corner as the count is 0-1. Bedford on deck, Hartle batting. Chance for Clear Lake to at least tie it right now. Runners at second and third and one away. Trunkhill's next pitch. Hartle fouls it straight back to the screen. Boy, did she have a good cut at that one. Count 0-2 as Trunkill has a little latitude to work with right now. Allison Trunkhill, not one who's going to waste a lot of pitches, but we'll see how much she can expand the zone here to Hartle. That outside corner has been generous so far today. The 0-2 pitch. Hartle flies that in the air, right center field. Burns moving over, and she makes the grab. Tagging at third base is Johnson. The throw to the plate, and it's up the third base line. Clear Lake grabs a run, and they make it 7-6 on the sacrifice fly to right field. They challenge the arm of Caitlin Burns, and that throw is just off target up the third base line as Johnson comes home to score. Job well done by Elena Hartle on the sacrifice fly, and it's 7-6. Olivia Payne fought about advancing, but had to stay put at second base. So now it'll take a base hit to bring home the tying run for Taylor Bedford, who had the opposite field double her last time up. A double to right center field by Bedford, and a strikeout as she's 1 for 2. Finley Jepson up next, should Bedford reach. And we've got a one-run game. What was once a 6-1 lead for the Bulldogs has been frittered away to 7-6. Pitch down and in for a ball, and it's a 1-0 count. Once we go to the top half of the 6th inning, Algona will have 9-1 and 2 in their batting order with Van Tiger, Burns, and Trunkhill. Outfield playing Bedford towards left center field as Trunkhill reloads the chamber for the 1-0 pitch. In the dirt, picked out by Haynes as she goes sliding over towards her left. And Trunkhill falls behind, 2-0 on the Clear Lake number 6 hitter. Payne still at second base. Van Tiger still very deep in left field. Rest of the outfield medium depth. The 2-0 pitch to Bedford. Bedford chops it foul behind home plate, 2-1 count. Got right after that offering that was running in on her hands a little bit. And it's a 2-1 count. Taylor Bedford, right-handed hitting junior, back into the box for Clear Lake, battling against Allison Trunkhill for the tying run looming at second base. Trunkhill's 2-1 pitch. Bedford, soft line drive left center field, and that one's down for a base hit, and we are going to have a brand new ball game. Payne comes around third base, and she scores, and we are tied at 7. Taylor Bedford, her second RBI base hit of the game, and it is a brand new ball game in the bottom of the 5th. Clear Lake 7, Algona 7, and inning not done yet. Finley Jepson, the number 7 hitter, who reached on an error her last time up to the plate. Jepson reached via the air, also grounded out to shortstop. Both balls that she's hit today have gone to the shortstop. And now the Bulldogs will try to buckle down here with 2 outs and regroup when the next half inning arrives. The 5-run lead is now a distant memory for Algona. Trunkhill's first offering. Downstairs for a ball, blocked by Haynes. Count 1-0. Well, it is always said in softball and baseball, the more times you see a pitcher, the more it starts to favor the hitter. And we've seen that play out tonight. It was a pitcher's duel between Allison Trunkhill and Michaela Johnson the first time these two teams matched up, but we have seen a lot of base hits, a lot of hard hit balls tonight in the second meeting between these teams, as now they have a better idea of what the pitchers are both going to be going for. Trunkhill's 1-0 delivery. There's a swing and a foul at home plate. Count even at 1-1 as Trunkhill kept that one down and away to Jepson. Jesse Thompson due up next for Clear Lake. Bottom half of 5 here in Clear Lake. Second meeting between these teams. And another close game. These teams always find a way to have it come right down to the wire. Trunkhill for the 1-1 offering. Sails up high for a ball. Back pick to first base, but going back to the bag is Bedford. On the pitch, that ball stuck in the very tip of Reagan Haynes' glove. That was almost off the top of the glove into the backstop, but she was able to squeeze it as Trunkhill's behind in the count 2-1. Busher in front of the baseline at first base. Dunning even the bag at third. Outfield in the same alignment they were last at bat. Pitches a roller towards shortstop, and it eats up Lentz into left center field. It has been a tough night defensively for Lentz at shortstop, and the inning will continue as Clear Lake is given an extra out. That is error number 5 for the Bulldogs tonight by my unofficial count as Jepson's aboard first base. Jesse Thompson, right-handed hitting center fielder for Clear Lake. 1 for 2 today for single and a strikeout. That was another one of those in-between hops for Lentz. She got caught in between whether should I charge in on this ball or should I wait back and just try to take the high hop. She tried to wait back on that one, and the more hops it takes, the more likely the ball is going to skip by you or take a tough hop. As Clear Lake sends a runner to second base. Aspen Hill will be the runner at second, as she will take over Taylor Bedford. So Hill, the flex player, will run at second. It's Jepson at first, and Jesse Thompson for a chance to inflict some serious pain on the Bulldogs. Clear Lake has scored 2 so far this inning. They've scored exactly 2 runs, 3 innings in a row, including this one. Trunkhill's pitch in the dirt. Haynes able to pick it out behind home plate, and the count 1-0. Number 9 hitter Maddie Ott on deck. And Clear Lake has guaranteed that Taylor Schwen will at least get another chance to bat later in this ballgame of how many batters they've sent to the plate this inning. Reagan Haynes will take a quick visit to Allison Trunkhill in the pitcher circle, who's given up 7 runs, but off to do the tally at the end of the game. But I'd say the majority of those have been unearned so far tonight. This looks a lot more like the early season Bulldogs than the Bulldogs who won 12 out of 13 games at one point, We saw a lot of defensive issues in the first couple of games for Algona. It improved as the season went on, but some of the old habits have popped back up tonight. So Thompson back in of a 1-0 count, and Trunkill trying to buckle down on the bottom of the fifth and keep this game tied. Trunkill's 1-0 pitch. Thompson watching, and that ball's high. 2-0 count. Well, Trunkill's been so in control throughout the season, so composed in the circle. You also forget, worst case scenario, you do have Ryan Haynes in your back pocket, who pitched really well yesterday for Algona. 2-0 count to Thompson. Thompson swinging and grounding it towards shortstop. High hop to Lentz. She grabs it low for to first base, and it is picked out by Busher. Boy, Busher saved the Bulldogs another error right there as she scoops it out of the dirt, and the inning comes to an end. But Clear Lake rallies to tie the game. We are all locked up at 7 apiece here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent in Algona. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Daylight Donuts, open early with delicious donuts and great coffee.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Hey Bulldogs fan, this is Coach Venadaloo, and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Coach Van Otterloo calling for a pinch hitter to start the inning as Charlie Dons will bat for Gabby Van Tiger. Van Tiger was 0 for 2, or check that 0 for 1 because one was a sacrifice bunt. So 0 for 1 at the time of the pinch hitter. Charlie Dodds will bat for Algona as Dodds only has one official at bat this season. She is 0 for 1. She's done a lot of courtesy running, but she's also walked once. She's laid down a sacrifice as well, so not really a ton of plate appearances for Charlie Dodds. She'll get a chance here as this game is now tied at 7 between Clear Lake and Algona. Bulldogs had the 6-1 lead after 2 innings, but Clear Lake has rallied to tie this game at 7. Dodds watching the first pitch up high for a ball, 1-0 count. Dodds to be followed by Caitlin Burns and Allison Trunkill. Algona got that big, exciting win last night against Estherville Lincoln Central, but they have not brought their A game here tonight. As there's a roller towards shortstop, Payne takes the high hop. She fires to first base, goes low, but played by Ott as out number 1 is recorded. Bulldogs just have not been sharp so far in this game, and it's a credit to Clear Lake, too, because a lot of times you get up 6-1 on a team, and all of a sudden the quality at bats declines, the energy declines, but that has not been the case for Clear Lake. At no point did they think they were out of this ball game. Caitlin Burns, 2 RBI tonight, had the sacrifice fly her last time up. As Michaela Johnson comes to the plate, and she launches that one to the backstop. Count goes to 1-0 on Burns. Trunkill after Burns. Reagan Haynes if anyone gets on base, but all the momentum on Clear Lake's side right now for the 7-7 tie. The freshman Michaela Johnson back aboard the pitching rubber with the 1-0 pitch. And Burns bunts it, third base side. Johnson charging in, bare hand grab. She throws to first. Not in time as Burns beats it out. Ball was dropped at first base anyways, but Burns was going to beat that throw. And once again, she picks an excellent spot to lay down a bunt. It's a single for Algona, and that'll allow Allison Trunkill to bat for runner on base. Trunkill has walked twice, and she has reached on an error tonight. And of course, like I said with Schwen earlier in the game, that will enable Reagan Haynes to bat this inning unless a double play is turned by Clear Lake. The motion and the pitch, and there's a rip job off the glove of the third baseman Hartle down the left field line. Stopping at second base is Burns as left fielder Jepson got to it quickly. That was a shot into the hard corner. Hartle made a leaping attempt, actually timed her jump pretty well, but it hit the top of her glove and deflected it down the left field line. And now Bulldogs have something cooking here. 2 outs, or I should say 2 on with 1 out, and Reagan Haynes the batter. Trunkill will likely be courtesy run for at first base as Coach Van Otterloo makes the note of the home plate umpire. Kinsey Tilgis this time running for the pitcher Allison Trunkill. So Trunkill did her job. She's been on base 4 times tonight as Kinsey Till just runs at first. And Reagan Haynes bats with 2 on once again. Haynes has blooped a single to left. She's hit a 3-run homer to left, and she has struck out tonight against Michaela Johnson. A chance for Haynes to be the hero once again. The wind in the pitch. Haynes pops it up on the first pitch. Left side of the infield, and an infield fly is called. And the Bulldog number 3 hitter is retired on the first pitch. There's a give and take of that. She loves to jump the first pitch if it's over the plate, but sometimes you get in that bat like that where it ends on the first pitch pop out. And now it's on Maya Lentz. And boy, would Lentz love a hit here. It has been a tough night at shortstop for Maya Lentz, but she has a chance to get those runs back with one swing of the bat. Outfield deep for Clear Lake against the Bulldog lead on, number 4 hitter, that is. Johnson's pitch. Outside the lines, back pick to first base, close play, and diving back in there safely is Tilgis. Tilgis almost wandered too far off of first base and got back picked by Schwen, but she got back in there safely. Bulldogs very, very lucky the inning isn't over on that throw by Schwen. Lentz awaiting the next offering by Johnson. It's in the dirt, picked up by Schwen. She'll fire it back quickly to the circle as the Bulldogs now being a little more careful there on the base paths with the secondary lead. The rules that apply for normal catchers don't always apply of Schwen and the type of arm she has behind home plate. 1-1 pitch. Lentz watching, and that one's in there for a strike. Johnson does not want the ball inside the Lentz. She's trying to keep it outside as the count goes to 1-2. Kyla Johnson, 1 strike away from working around the most dangerous part of the Bulldog batting order as she retired Reagan Haynes on the pop-up. Kayla Busher's on deck. 1-2 pitch. Just a bit outside. It was up and away. Lentz watching that good 1-2 offering to even the count at 2-2. Burns at second base. Tilgis at first. 7-7 tie in the top half of inning number 6 in Clear Lake. Here comes Johnson at the 2-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. She climbed the ladder and Lentz couldn't get on top of that one as she chased what likely would have been ball 3. The inning comes to an end and Algona leaves a golden opportunity on base. Bulldogs do not score. We stay tied at 7, moving to the bottom of the 6th on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com. When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Ryan Haynes and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Bottom of inning number 6 in Clear Lake. The Clear Lake Lions and the Algona Bulldogs tied at 7 as Allison Trunkill faces 9-1 and 2 in the batting order. Maddie Ott taking that first offering for ball 1. Ott 0 for 2 today, followed by Cheyenne Schroeder and Michaela Johnson. Taylor Schwen if anyone gets on base, which means the Bulldogs desperately want a 1-2 for inning to avoid Schwen. The wind in the 1-0 pitch. Line drive foul first base side as the count evens up 1-1 strike. Just your typical wild night here in the North Central Conference between the Algona Bulldogs and Clear Lake Lions. Bulldogs had the 6-1 lead. Reagan Haynes had a 3-run homer early in the game, but things have changed since then as there's a nasty changeup that fooled Maddie Ott. She swings and misses, the count evens. Right now, make that 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trunkill trying to buckle down this inning after giving up 2 in each of the last 3 innings. The motion and the pitch. Outside for a ball. Haynes tried to sell that behind home plate, but that one was a few inches out, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. I've talked a lot about Schwen so far tonight for Clear Lake, and she'll bat if anyone gets on. Pitch to Ott, down and away for a ball. A good eye by the Clear Lake senior. If you look at the North Central Conference, I think hitter-wise, St. Edmunds' Mariah Myers is in a class of her own, but that class that follows her, you put people like Taylor Schwen, Reagan Haynes in that class. Claire Dielman of Humboldt. Pitches downstairs, ball 4. Trunkhill worked ahead, but she will lose the number 9 hitter, and barring a double play, Schwen will get a chance to bat this inning for Clear Lake. 1 on, nobody out. Back to the leadoff part of the order of Cheyenne Schroeder, who struck out her last time up. But there's a lot of good hitters in the NCC. Someone like Charlie Morton of Hampton Jumon Cal, Maya Lentz of Algona. Like I said, I think Mariah Myers is in a class of her own, but there's 4 or 5 players in a really good class right after her, and you throw in a couple of Bulldogs in that part of the conference. You throw in someone like Taylor Schwen.
Right fielder, number 14.
Clear Lake will have Cheyenne Schroeder bat. Madeline McLaughlin will run at first base for Maddie Ott. McLaughlin, sophomore for Clear Lake, wearing jersey number 9, and she'll be on base with nobody out. And Clear Lake have a chance to take the lead, something that they have not had so far today. Bulldogs have never trailed after scoring 2 in the top of the first. Trunkhill's pitch, and that one is shot in between the gap between first and second into right field. McLaughlin goes station to station, and the Bulldogs in a big jam here early. Schroeder shoots one the opposite way, and it's first and second. Nobody out for Clear Lake, and now you would expect a bunt from Michaela Johnson, I would imagine. Although, the one argument against that, if you bunt with Johnson, that moves runners to second and third, then the Bulldogs will likely intentionally walk Schwen. So maybe you do swing away here if you're Johnson. Maybe you don't bunt. Big decision here for Coach Steph Thompson and the staff. Trunkhill working runners at first and second. Johnson is bunting. She pulls the bat back, and the pitch dips below the strike zone for a ball. Count 1-0. Well, if Clear Lake scores here, Algona will only have one chance in the top of the 7th, as we're already in the bottom half of inning number 6. Bulldogs have Busher, Haynes, and Van Tiger due up. The 1-0 pitch. Bunt again for Johnson. She missed the bunt. The ball gets away. Running the third, McLaughlin, and the throw not in time. No bunt needed now. Second and third for Clear Lake. As the ball popped out of the glove of Haynes, and the count evens 1-1 on Michaela Johnson. Well, you could safety squeeze here for Johnson. We'll see what the coaches call for, but I would imagine now, with the base hitter last time up, she may be right back to swinging away. Bulldogs pinch the corner infield in. They stay back for the middle infield, though. Trunkhill's 1-1 pitch, and it is a safety squeeze. Third base side, Dunning looked home. She had a play. The tag is on, and they got her. They got McLaughlin at home plate. Advancing up to second base as the Bulldogs don't pay attention is Johnson. It'll be second and third. Boy, that was nearly a disaster defensively for Algona. Dunning charged in. She had an easy out at home plate, and she didn't realize that at first, as her first instinct was to throw to first base. Then she must have heard the first base dugout yelling 4-4-4 because last minute she changed her mind and flipped it to home. That should have been out by a mile at home. Instead, it was a bang-bang play, but the Bulldogs do get the out as they nearly give Clear Lake the lead. Instead, it's the out at home plate, and Taylor Schwen will bat. And will the Bulldogs elect to pitch to her? It appears they will. 1 out, runners at second and third, and Bulldogs will not intentionally walk Schwen, or will they? Here comes Coach Van Otterloo, and I'd imagine the strategy is going to be discussed heavily. I know Trunkhill's a competitor, and she wants to go after Schwen, but I think you've got to intentionally walk Schwen here and set up a force play at every base. You want to be able to throw home on a ground ball and get the out at home plate and not have to do a tag play like the Bulldogs just had to do. Not to mention, Schwen already has a 2-run double earlier in this game. She's 1 for 3. The 2 outs that she has are both fly balls that would have been deep enough to right field to score a potential runner from third if there had been a runner at third in those situations. So Bulldogs will talk this over. The other option is you tell Trunkhill, hey, we'll let you pitch to her, but don't throw a strike. Try to see if you can get Schwen to swing at a bad pitch, and then we'll go from there. But I would imagine the pitches to hit here for Taylor Schwen are going to be very limited if the Bulldogs don't intentionally walk her. We will see, though. This is the fascinating part of the ballgame where you really start to dig into the strategy. 7-7 tie. Taylor Schwen, one of the best hitters in the conference now at the plate. Right-hand hitting sophomore catcher for Clear Lake. Trunkhill is going to pitch to her. The first offering, Schwen attacks it, line drive towards second base, and Haynes bobbles and makes the catch. She bobbled it and she caught it. Taylor Schwen retired on the first pitch. And genius head coach Tyler Lance makes a terrible call. It was a great decision to pitch to Schwen. Second out of the inning is recorded. Now Bulldogs have a chance to get out of this one if no runs allowed. Olivia Payne, though, a tough out herself. 2 for 3 so far tonight. Had an RBI single back in the first. McLaughlin at third, Johnson at second. And the dangerous Taylor Schwen retired for the second out. Trunkhill has to have the heart pumping right now of ice water running through the veins. Still a 7-7 tie. Trunk Hill off the pitch. In the dirt, picked out by Haynes. Boy, after all that, you would hate to see a wild pitch give the lead, but Haynes has been a brick wall behind home plate. Although the wild pitch, or pass ball, whatever you want to score, it did allow runners to go to second and third earlier this inning. The 1-0 delivery by Trunk Hill. Payne, line drive left field, charging in Van Tiger, and she makes the grab, and the inning comes to an end. The Bulldogs dodge a major bullet in the bottom of the sixth, and Clear Lake lets a big opportunity go by the wayside. Both teams miss golden scoring opportunities in the sixth, and we stay tied at 7 on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
We go to the 7th, but maybe not final inning, as Algona and Clear Lake remain tied at 7 on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream. We are now at the point in the ballgame where whichever team loses this game is going to highly regret the way the 6th inning went. First in the top of the 6th with the game tied at 7, Algona had runners at first and second with nobody out, but they squandered the opportunity as they did not score. Or actually, check that, it was first and second with one out, beg your pardon, but in any case, it was a big opportunity for the Bulldogs, and they didn't score in the top of the 6th. Then Clear Lake, they had runners at second and third, nobody out the bottom of the 6th, set up to take the lead of the middle of their batting order coming up, 2, 3, and 4, and Algona got out of the inning without allowing a run. They got the out at home plate on a safety squeeze attempt. That was a line out to second and a line out to left. Clear Lake had a couple of line drives, but both were right at their respective defenders as time is called at home plate. And I think they are noting a potential change here, as Caleb Busher's the batter right now for Algona. The umpire is looking to the lineup card, but I don't see where the change took place, if any, as Busher takes that one for a strike. Count goes to 0-1. In any case, Busher had the bloop that resulted in 2 runs back in the first inning, but she's been retired in her last 2 at-bats. Down 0-1 against Michaela Johnson. 0-1 pitch. Busher with a massive cut in the miss. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes. That was a home run type of swing from Busher, who does not have a home run this season, although Monday night against St. Ed's didn't miss by much on a drive off the top of the left field wall. Had to settle for a double in that game. 0-2 to Busher. And close offering, maybe a bit low because that looked like it had the outside corner, but it was below the knees as the count goes to 1-2 on the Bulldogs senior. 3 seniors in a row here in this huge spot right now. Busher, Haynes, and Van Tiger as we are tied at 7. 1-2 pitch, up and away for a ball. Count even at 2-2. The center fielder, Thompson, has moved in a step or two compared to where she was playing earlier. She's a step over towards right center. Rest of the outfield playing pretty deep, but straight up for Busher. 2-2 pitch. Busher fouled it straight back to the screen. She would like that pitch back. She pounds the bat at home plate, and the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is the difference between Bulldogs of the past and Bulldogs of this year. In the past, you'd say, well, we're past the top 4 hitters. It's going to be tough to score. Now you're saying there are threats up and down the lineup in this Bulldog batting order. 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 outside corner. Paint from Michaela Johnson, and that's a big first out of the inning. That leadoff hitter is such a tone setter, and Johnson able to battle for the strikeout. Now it's Ryan Haynes, who's been held hitless so far today. 0 for 3 with a fly out to center field, a strikeout, and a pop out to shortstop. That is 4 strikeouts today by Johnson, who's pitched to contact. Haynes with a cut and a miss, and she's behind in the count 0-1. And rarely have you seen a Bulldog hitter ahead 2-0 or 3-1. Johnson has been in and around the zone. Even pitches outside of the zone have been competitive offerings that at least make you think as a batter. 0-1 pitch. Tried the changeup there, but it arced in and then dropped down low to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Haynes batting, Van Tiger on deck. Spear if anyone reaches base. 1-1 pitch. Haynes with a rocket, left center field gap, and that is down for a base hit, and Thompson can't cut it off. It goes to the fence. Haynes turning and burning to second base as she's in ahead of the throw. 1-out double. Ryan Haynes, who has her first base hit of the game. Thompson had a chance to cut that ball off in the gap and limit Haynes to a single, but didn't take the right angle, and Haynes hustles her way to second base. Bulldogs have the go-ahead run on with only 1 out for Lainey Van Tiger. Van Tiger singled her last time up, 1 for 3 today, as she reached on an air back in the second, popped out to second base in the third, and then a single her last time. Pitch to Van Tiger, takes down the in for a ball, snap for the second base. Haynes better hustle back in, and she does. The second baseman, Aspen Hill, is a bit off the bag, but Schwen confident to throw through to the second baseman, although Haynes wins the race back to the bag. You always have to have eyes in the back of your head when you're in the base paths, with Schwen behind home plate. Pitch to Van Tiger. In the dirt, Schwen knocks it down, and no advance made by Haynes. Ball kicked up the third base line a little ways, but a good read by Haynes to stay put that time. With the runner in scoring position, you are not going to run into it out on the base pass unless you absolutely know you're going to make it to third base. Michaela Johnson to the plate. Off the inside corner to Van Tiger. And it is a 3-0 count right now on the Bulldog right-handed hitting senior. Van Tiger for the line drive single to right field her last time up. Haynes at second. Johnson brings the 3-0. Van Tiger taking all the way. It's in the dirt. Haynes is advancing to third base, and she got a great read. She'll make it there safely on the ball that was in the dirt. It didn't get far away from Schwen, but it was right underneath her, and Schwen had trouble finding it at first. So Bulldogs have him at the corners, and now you're thinking ball in play for Emma Spear. Of course, you could do the old first to third play where Van Tiger tries to get in the rundown, but that works against a lot of teams. I don't think that works against Taylor Schwen. Bulldogs tried that last time these teams matched up with a first to third base runner, with the runner at first trying to steal second and then getting caught on the rundown, and it backfired miserably the first time these teams met. Pitch to Spear. Runner is going. Schwen throw back to third, and diving back in safely is Haynes. Van Tiger does go up to second base, as they won't make a play on her. So second and third now for the Bulldogs, and a chance for 2 for Emma Spear. Of course, you'd like to get at least 1, obviously, but with the way the offense has gone tonight, a base hit here to bring in 2 would be massive. But you would certainly, anything that brings in a run, you would take for Algona. 1-0 pitch, line drive left field, base hit, Emma Spear. It's a base hit. Haynes scores. Van Tiger stopped at third. The throw comes home as Spear will race up to second base. Clutch base hit, Emma Spear. The Bulldog sophomore comes through again. 8-7 Algona. My, oh my, Emma Spear's been in the middle of so many big moments as of late, and she delivers once again. Her second base hit of the game, and the Bulldogs can now get greedy. 8-7 Algona. Bulldogs back in front. They have scored for the first time since the 4th inning. Bulldogs scored 6 runs in the first 2 innings, and they were held scoreless in the 3rd, 5th, and 6th, as the home plate umpire will dust off the plate, and the field umpire is saying, hey, whoever's out there who has your car lights on beyond the outfield fence, you have to turn those off because those are in the batter's vision. So someone out there has got to turn off their truck lights before we can resume this game. And that'll allow the Bulldogs to marinate in the big moment of an Emma Spear base hit. Well, someone's truck light's still on out there, and I don't think we're going to resume here until they find a way to turn those off. That's the problem with the parking lot being out in right center field here at this complex. Now the person is going to leave, so that is I would assume someone leaving from the baseball game, because if you're leaving the softball game here, if an 8-7 score on the top of the 7th, you are insane. So that car will drive away, and whether that person knew it or not, they cause a little delay here in the action as the number 9 hitter, Gabby Van Tiger, steps up, and she'll try to safety squeeze, and she pops up the bunt into the gut of Schwen. Right into Taylor Schwen's breadbasket, and that'll be out number 2 of the inning. She fouled it straight back, and all Schwen had to do was cradle that in her chest for the second out of the inning as Van Tiger retired on the foul out. So now 2 away, runners still at second and third. Caitlin Burns, a single her last time up, 2 for 3 tonight. Middle of the infield is wide open as the shortstop and the second baseman are playing fairly close to the third and first base bags. Schwen fakes the throw to third base, and I'm not sure what was wrong with that pitch, but it's ball 1 to Burns. Maybe a little bit high. 8-7 Bulldogs. Emma Spear for the go-ahead single. She's at second base. Lainey Van Tiger at third. Big spot for the senior Caitlin Burns looking for insurance. 1-0 by Johnson. Up and into Burns. 2 balls, no strikes, as Trunkhill's on deck. Reagan Haynes is in the hole. And if those two get a chance at the bat, that means something very good happened for Algona. Michaela Johnson trying to keep this a 1-run game, as Clear Lake does have 5, 6, and 7 in their batting order due up. Burns with a healthy cut, fouled it back to the screen. Had the big 2-0 swing right there, but was underneath it as the count goes to 2-1. Elena Hartle, Taylor Bedford, and Finley Jepson are due up. That's part of why the bottom of the 6 was so big. The Bulldogs got through Taylor Schwen and Olivia Payne, the 3 and 4 hitters. 2-1 pitch. Burns ground ball towards second base. High hop for Hill. She'll glove and throw to first base as Burns is retired for the final out of the inning. The Bulldogs inch ahead, but they do strand runners at second and third. It's 8-7 Algona as we move to the bottom half of 7. Last chance for Clear Lake next on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube channel.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Ryan Haynes and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Last chance for the Clear Lake Lions. It's the bottom of the 7th inning as Clear Lake trails Algona 8-7. There's been a lot of traffic on the base paths tonight against Allison Trunkhill. She has not had very many easy innings against this Lion offense. And this inning, she will face Aleda Hartle, Taylor Bedford, and Finley Jepson. Hartle today has lined out to shortstop on a soft liner. She's reached on an error, and she's also hit a sacrifice fly to right field. It's 8-7 in favor of Algona, but the Bulldogs had an opportunity for more. They left runners stranded at second and third base after they were there with 1 out. But they did get the go-ahead run in, and that's what matters at this point. You put the ball in the trusted hands of Allison Trunkhill. Trunkhill winds and delivers. Hartle watching, and that one is outside for a ball, 1-0 count. Maybe it's just the angle we have tonight behind home plate, but these two catchers have been framing those outside pitches in a very exaggerated fashion so far in this game. I can't imagine the home plate umpire is that fooled by that. Trunkhill winds and brings the 1-0. Hartle pops that foul as that one will head out of play. Count evens at 1-1. It's been a grueling start to the week for this Bulldog softball team, facing Class 1A state-ranked St. Edmund on Monday night and Class 3A state-ranked Estherville Lincoln Central Tuesday night, and a really good Clear Lake team here tonight. 1-1 count as Trunkhill delivers. Hartle line drive left field, and that one's getting down for a base hit. Van Tiger overruns the ball but picks it up quickly, and Hartle will be held to a single left field. And the beat goes on for Clear Lake. They get their leadoff runner aboard, and once again it's going to be a pressure-packed inning for Allison Trunkhill. And now you're worried because one swing of the bat could win it for Clear Lake, as Bedford has some good pop in that right-handed bat. Bedford with a pair of base hits tonight, 1 run driven in. She's 2 for 3 in the ball game. Hartle, the tying run at first base. Bedford, the winning run at home plate.
Up now for the Lions, designated
This is going to be a
player number 7,
night where
Taylor
hopefully all the Bulldog
Bedford.
fans remember to check your blood pressure before this game, because this game certainly can't be helping that. 8-7 right now. Algona leading Clear Lake, but the tying run at first. Trunkhill delivers, and Bedford swings and misses. Snap throw back to first base, but diving in safely is Hartle. So Hartle back at first base on the dive. Trunkhill did deliver strike 1 there to Taylor Bedford. Did a nice job of burying that pitch in on the hands, where Bedford would have to react very quickly to get around on it. Trunkhill ball in her right hip pocket. Steps back aboard the pitching rubber. And offers up the 0-1 pitch. It's a bunt by Bedford, and she bunted it foul. Bedford down on the count, 0-2. Boy, I wonder if Bedford did that on her own or if that was a sign, because Bedford did not try to bunt on the first pitch, and she tried to bunt there on the second pitch. So a 1-2 count on Bedford, behind against Trunkhill, and actually check that 0-2. The umpire stuck up the one finger initially, but Bedford behind. Trunkhill's next pitch. There's a swing and a chopper towards third base. It goes through to Lentz. Lentz throws to first in time for the out. Hartle moves up to second base, but that will function as effectively as a bunt. Tying run to second base, 1 out, and Clear Lake has 2 opportunities to at least tie this game, if not win it, as Finley Jepson, the left fielder, will bat. Jepson has reached on errors each of her last 2 times to the plate. 0 for 3 tonight, but she's been on base twice.
Finley Jepson.
Bulldogs clinging on to that 1-run lead. The tying run has moved 1 base closer. Dunning creeping in at third base, as is Busher at first. Outfield shallow here for Jepson. Jepson fly ball left field, that one curving towards foul territory, racing over Laney Van Tiger, and she drops the ball in foul territory, and Jepson will have new life. It was a fairly long run into foul territory by Van Tiger, but she got her glove on it. Looked like she maybe overran and undercut that ball slightly. She went a little bit too far, so she has to reach back over her head, and the ball is a little behind her as well, but that's a ball that has to be turned into an out when you get your full glove on it. Another chance for Jepson, down at 0-1 on the count. Hartle at second. The motion and the delivery. That's a line drive left field towards Van Tiger, and she makes the grab out and left. You give Laney Van Tiger a second chance, and she is not going to miss that one. And Clear Lake down to their final out. Lions need a base hit to bring home the tying run, and Jessie Thompson is the player whose shoulders it'll rest upon. The last 9 games between these teams have all been decided by 3 runs or less. 5 of those 9 decided by 1 run. Right now it's a 1-run margin, with Algona leading Clear Lake 8-7. Thompson 1 for 3 tonight. The wind and the pitch. And that's a bit outside. Oohs and ahs from the Bulldog crowd. That outside pitch has been called a few times tonight, but the zone contracting there on that one as the count goes to 1-0. Maddie Ott is scheduled to be up next for Clear Lake. Trunkhill delivers the 1-0 pitch. And that one is right over the plate for a called strike, evening it up 1-1. Bulldogs and the Lions. Maybe hasn't been the cleanest game here tonight, but it's been a playoff type of atmosphere for the intensity these 2 teams have gone at it with. Trunkhill to the plate for the 1-1. Thompson watching, and that's a strike at the letters. And now it's the fans of Clear Lake's turn to be upset. So the home plate umpire has made both fan bases angry in this same at-bat. And he's also made third base coach Seth Thompson angry as well. He will call over his batter, Jessie Thompson, beg your pardon, as Jepson was the most recent batter retired for Clear Lake. 1-2 count, Lions down to their final strike, as Thompson's getting some final words of instruction from head coach Seth Thompson. Algona trying to win their 2nd game in a row. If you win 2 out of 3 here, if this grueling schedule to start the week, that is a great accomplishment for the Bulldogs, but they need 1 more out to do it. Maddie Ott on deck. 1-2 count on Jessie Thompson as Trunkhill goes back to work. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3, and the Bulldogs hang on in Clear Lake. The tying run is stranded at second base, and a wild game tips in favor of Algona. 2 of the best teams in the NCC battled out all the way to the end tonight, and the Bulldogs hang on to win this one 8-7. And exhale, fans. This one comes to an end with the Bulldogs picking up win number 15 of the season. Algona moves to 15-5. They are 8-3 in conference play. They will sweep the season series over Clear Lake for the first time since 2021. The Lions will fall to 15-9 on the season. They are now 9-4 in North Central Conference play, and they fall 1 game behind Algona in the loss column for the race for 2nd place in the NCC behind St. Edmund. So a gritty win tonight for the Bulldogs. Both of these teams battled all the way to the very end of this one, and the Bulldogs come out on top 8-7. We will break for a timeout, and we'll wrap it up with final stats and analysis after this on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying Steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass, for all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires, they're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykirk Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters, growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb, from a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com. When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at moneypass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC. For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Gray Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Back here in Clear Lake, where the Algona Bulldogs have a scintillating 8-7 win over the Clear Lake Lions. Bulldogs score the go-ahead run on the top of the 7th inning, and then they hang on the bottom of the 7th, straining the game-time run at second base. So the Bulldogs come out on top tonight by a final count of 8-7. We'll take a quick look at a few unofficial numbers, and then we'll get some of the players' thoughts on the game. The stat line for Algona tonight: 8 runs, 11 hits, 8 left on base, and 5 errors. For Clear Lake, they had 7 runs on 9 hits, left 7 on base, and committed 2 errors tonight. With the win, Algona moves to 15-5. They are 8-3 in the NCC. Clear Lake falls to 15-9. They are 9-4 in the North Central Conference. We'll break for a quick 30 seconds here, and we'll come back with some post-game thoughts on KLGA 92.7.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Central Financial Group, where you belong.
Down to Earth Tree Service, your local Algona Tree Service.
Styles Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farm and Home Services. View their listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Holmes Animal Clinic, animals large and small. They love them all.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle. Passionate about teaching, creative about dance. Visit their studio or danceconnectionbymichelle.com.
All bringing you this ball game.
And we're going to come right back here to the Clear Lake press box, where Ryan Haynes is stopped by after the game to recap the Algona 8-7 win over Clear Lake. Ryan, first of all, it's been a grueling week so far for the Bulldogs schedule-wise. You knew you came in with 3 really good teams on the schedule. What was the mentality for the team approaching the start of this week?
Well, we knew it was going to be one of our toughest. You've got 3 really good teams this week, and just like mentally being ready for that and being able to come out of it and win some if you can, and whatever happens, happens.
Before we get into tonight, obviously it was a disappointing loss Monday night against St. Ed's, but you guys bounced back pretty quickly last night. Big win over ELC. What did you feel allowed the team to get so refocused after that loss Monday?
Well, you have to clear your mind. You can't sit on that, and it's a conference game, but it's we have others to win here. And then ELC, just go into it. We have nothing to lose with that one. They're ranked. We weren't. So play your game, and whatever happens is your.
Well, you come in tonight against Clear Lake, and it turns into a pretty back-and-forth ball game in this one. Can you just describe the intensity of this game and how, the swings of emotion kind of felt in this game?
Yeah, well, right away we got on them really fast, and then faced some adversity, just some errors, not really playing our game, and we found a way to come out of it, and I have no complaints there.
Momentum-wise, obviously, Clear Lake had it there for a little bit, but you guys fought back at the top of the 7th inning. Just take me through your observations of the top of that inning. Obviously, Emma got the go-ahead base hit, but a lot of good at-bats for the Bulldogs leading up to that point.
Yeah, we had a lot of good at-bats, a lot of solid hits, just right to somebody. And then I got on, and I just kind of knew from there we have a runner on second, 1 out. I'm like, we're good. I had all the trust in my team, and we made it happen, and we held them.
Well, when you're the runner on base and you have Taylor Schwen behind home plate, you know that it's going to be kind of a cat and mouse game. You made that advance to third base on one of the pitches that was in the dirt. Just take me through getting the read on that play and saying, I know I'm going to get to third base there against Schwen.
Yeah, I saw the bounce, and I'm like, I know we have to have someone on third. We have to score here. If not, there's game. So it's like, I'm going, put my head down, just took off and prayed.
Absolutely. Well, obviously a different matchup than last time you guys saw at Clear Lake. Last time was a little more of a pitcher's duel. This time, a little bit more of a high-scoring type of game. What do you feel it says about this team, though, that you're able to win games in just a multitude of different ways?
Well, I feel like we play very level-headed. Like, it's just the same. We show up, we play our game every night, and then we have 1 or 2 bad innings, and we always bounce back from it because we know we can win and we know we can come out on top.
Well, afternoon game tomorrow against Clarion Gulf Dow, so quick turnaround here for the Bulldogs before the 4th of July. I guess, final few regular season games are coming up. What do you feel the team needs to do here to continue to tune up and get ready for the postseason, which is not that far away?
Just play our game, get some wins on the board, and go compete in postseason.
All right, Ryan, well, congratulations on the win tonight, and thanks for stopping by. That's Bulldogs senior Ryan Haynes here on Hometown Radio KLGA. We'll take one more time out and wrap it up from Clear Lake after this.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. When you come in, your family.
Farmers State Bank is proud to be part of our community. Offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Stroman Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair. Service is the difference.
Trend Salon, your complete family hair salon. It's all about you.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, celebrating a life lived.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
And we're going to bring it right back up to the press box here from Clear Lake High School and on Hometown Radio KLGA. As always, we appreciate Coach Van Otterloo for sending one of the players up to talk with us after the game. Today it was senior Ryan Haynes, who had some good thoughts on the Bulldog 8-7 win over Clear Lake and what this win has been in general. What a start to the week for Algona. Honestly, you lose against St. Edmund on Monday night. It's an understandable loss. Obviously, the Bulldogs were disappointed with how they played that night, but, there's not really shame in losing to St. Edmund of how good they are, but the key is how you bounce back from that. And to win 2 out of 3 against St. Ed's, ELC, and Clear Lake, that's a really good start to the week for the Bulldogs as they pick up the win tonight by a final count of 8-7. We gave the final stat line for part of this ball game. Again, it was 8 runs, 11 hits, 8 left on base, and 5 errors by the Bulldogs. 7 runs, 9 hits, 7 left on base, and 2 errors for the Clear Lake Lions. The winning pitcher today, Allison Trunkhill, as Trunkhill went 7 innings, allowing those 7 runs, although many of them unearned with a shaky defense tonight by Algona. She allowed 9 hits as she struck out 6 and walked 2. The loss will go to Michaela Johnson, as Johnson throws 7 innings tonight, gave up 8 runs on 11 hits. She struck out 4 and walked 3 batters. A key stat for tonight, Taylor Schwen for Clear Lake finished 1 for 4 at the plate, and you would sign up for that any day if you're the Bulldogs. Now, that one was a big one. It was a 2-run double in the third when Clear Lake was down 6-1, and that started to get momentum back for the Lions. But you hold Schwen to 1 for 4 tonight, and you got her out in a couple of high leverage situations, which really just goes to show the grit and the mettle of this Bulldog team. This was one of those games where whichever team lost, there were going to be a lot of regrets after this one. We mentioned things really got going in the 6th inning. Clear Lake had rallied as the Lions scored 2 in the 3rd inning. They scored 2 in the 4th, and they scored 2 in the 5th. And they had tied the Bulldogs up at 7 apiece. Then in the top of the 6th inning, Algona had a chance to get right back in front. They got a base hit by Caitlin Burns and a base hit by Allison Trunkhill, so they had 2 runners on base with 1 out, but a pop-up on the first pitch by Reagan Haynes and a strikeout by Maya Lentz, the 3 and 4 hitters, ended the threat quickly. Then Clear Lake, they really had a chance to get the Bulldogs in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Lions in the bottom of the 6th, they got Maddie Ott on board via a walk. Then Cheyenne Schroeder had the single. Runners moved up to 2nd and 3rd base. Then Michaela Johnson, if runners on 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, laid down a safety squeeze bunt. Bella Jo Dunning, the Bulldog 3rd baseman, threw home. They got the out at home plate. So then it was runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Taylor Schwen, the next batter, swung at the first pitch, hit a line drive to 2nd base that Ryan Haynes bobbled, and she ended up making the catch. See, that's what I should have asked about in the postgame. I should have asked her about that catch, but so many things happened in the game that kind of slips your mind in the postgame interview. But they got Schwen on that big out with 1 out and runners at 2nd and 3rd to line up to 2nd base, and then Olivia Payne lined up to left field, and the threat was over in the 6th. Of course, the Bulldogs pushed that run in front. As I mentioned earlier, Emma Spears been in the middle of so many big situations. Ryan Haynes had the double to start off the rally for the Bulldogs, putting a person at 2nd base. Then you had a walk by Lainey Van Tiger, and after that, it was that RBI single by Emma Spear to deliver the Bulldogs the 8-7 lead in the top of the 7th. Clear Lake did get their leadoff person on base in the bottom of the 7th inning with Elena Hartle, but Allison Trunkhill really buckled down. She retired 3 batters in a row, including striking out Jessie Thompson. And the Bulldogs hang on tonight for an 8-7 win over Clear Lake. This is the 6th time in the past 10 meetings between these teams that it ends up being a 1-run ball game. So Bulldogs and the Lions come right down to the stretch once again. Well, coming up tomorrow for our coverage, we're going to have Algona baseball for you on 92.7 KLGA as the Bulldog baseball team has a doubleheader against Charles City. Game 1 getting underway at 5 o'clock, as you'll hear it live on 92.7 FM and on the Algona Radio YouTube stream. So look out for that tomorrow. In the meantime, we'll wrap it up for tonight. The Algona Bulldogs softball team with another impressive win. They defeat Clear Lake tonight 8-7. I am Tyler Lance signing off. This has been a sports production of Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Once again, your final score, it's Algona 8 and Clear Lake 7.